Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Marvel Rivals Ignite Open Qualifier. And you all hate me, apparently, because I put out a poll on my YouTube last night, the night before I'm recording this, saying, hey, when I recorded OCE and I recorded Asia, they had 2 to 3 teams with a perfect score, with 10 points. So that made it pretty easy to pick which 3 teams to cast. It's time for EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And they have 9. America has like 11 to 12. So I asked, hey, what would you like me to do? Shall I pick? Shall I just do the new people so we can get some like new faces on the channel? Shall I just pick the ones with the best tournament results? And y'all said no, do all of them. So I'm about to record 9 casts in a row, which is why this video is going to be like 5 hours long, hopefully less. We will see. So, let's talk about the first setup here. I, of course, will not be telling you which teams got the perfect 10 score. The teams in this match, one team got a perfect 10. The other got a 9 out of 10. So these two teams are close, well matched. Both of these teams are likely qualifying for the next round. Introducing, on the left, on the defense, the Clover. And on the right, a familiar name for anyone who's been in Marvel Rivals Esports for more than a couple weeks. It is Schmungus. And we're looking at the Venom Band, as well as an Iron Fist getting taken out as well, focusing onto Necros and Andrew here. On the other side, Schmungus are taking out Loki, Groot, Captain America. Some pretty solid setups here. And they have protected the Human Torch to give one of Necros' big backup character options. Spider-Man, Human Torch, Iron Fist. These seem to be the main rotation that we've been seeing from Necros this season. The teams begin to lock in the final ban on the Incredible Hulk, trying to nerf out an Iron Man, nerf out the potential for a Namor to deal with that Human Torch. The Human Torch is now definitely quite high up in the priority. However, these teams did protect the Hellas, meaning there is at least some kind of anti-air on the board. Invisible Woman also going to be coming in. 1, because she's really strong, can help the Flyers, and 2, because she actually shuts down Flyers with that Silent Vortex, being able to pull people in. So, let's introduce our teams for the first of our many games to come today. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, on the defense here on Yggdrasil Path, we see the Clover, with maybeaziz going to be playing on the Lunar Snow. Kyojuro will be playing the Invisible Woman. Zerks is on the Human Torch. Lohe is going to be playing Emma Frost. NSS will be playing the Hela, and xbeta10 is on the Magneto. And on the right, in the red trunks on attack, it is gonna be Schmungus, with Necros on the Human Torch, Bogor on Emma Frost, Kragie is gonna be playing the Hela, Delcy is playing the Invisible Woman, kayjii is currently in the spawn, but they are playing the Lunar Snow, and Andrew will be playing the Magneto. Going to be backing up a quick couple eliminations for the side of the Clover as they're able to absolutely shut down Schmungus on that first initial push. Shots being sent in, traded back and forth. Necros is sieging from above. Zerks trying to match and also trying to duel Necros out here, takes them down. Zerks has good angles, force push, tried to get a quick blow up onto Zerks by pulling them out of position. Instead, they're able to get their focus onto Kragie, who's, of course, going to be trying to focus that Human Torch anytime they're able to get the right angle onto them. But for now, they have taken full cover. Very static front lines here, a slow and steady push. Emma Frost and Magneto, of course, working very well together, and having that team up really, really helped. Emma has been a massive boon for the Vanguard community since she was released. We'll have to see if Ultron is able to do the same for the Strategist community as we move on in. xbeta sieging away, holding down the line, getting healed up. Has been taking a lot of the damage here, but that's not the worst scenario, as long as they're able to keep this point held and stay in range for their strategists. That's a very aggressive push coming out from Lohe there. Will finally back up. But they really committed at trying to stay defensive there as Andrew takes yet another hit, but is still holding the line. Kragie still looking for the right angles. There's that human torch. Immediately moving into cover. Psychic Spear, and immediately into the Goddess of Death so they can try and tack through. Invisible Boundary will be dropped in exchange. A lot of these shots are being blocked out by barriers. Here come the shots. NSS matching in kind. Media immediately dropped here. Fate of Both Worlds is shutting this down. And it looks like we're going to see a fairly neutral set of engagements here. kayjii with the Fate of Both Worlds matching maybeaziz. Psionic Seduction for Bogor to try and lock him in as they begin the engage. No more ultimates left for the Clover, and have Schmungus been able to stagger Bogor long enough in order to capitalize on this push. Good pressure, Flaming Media trying to focus in, but with that metallic barrier, they are able to stay upright, and that's going to be a push back. Schmungus once again getting pushed back here by the Clover. X-Beta and Lohe pushing all the way back to the spawn. With only a minute to go, they can afford to give a little bit of extra space to make sure that their opponent has to fight for longer. Keep them zoned away as the map begins to respawn. Necros takes another hit, continuing to try and siege from above. Let's look at the ultimate counts here. 74% for Delcy. Highest on the side of Schmungus. 96 for Kyojuro. And Lohe already having their own Psionic Seduction here. Mind's Aegis coming out, trying to get the focus onto Bogor. Pyro Prison is doing a little bit of damage, but they're attacking through as Zerks is taken down. That's a big pickup for Schmungus, but Kragie is picked off in exchange. We have a Psylocke trying to make their way in. Kragie moving off here as Andrew has moved onto the Hella. They're trying a triple duelist at the end here. There's a single Vanguard now. Bogor on the Magneto is all the front line they have as they're trying to make this happen. Invisible Boundary expires. Bogor's getting focused down, absorbing a lot of damage. The Supernova from Necros to try and hold the line. Andrew has that Goddess of Death, so they have one more ability, but they need to make sure that people are actually on the point to try and hold this here. Down goes NSS. Fate of Both Worlds is going to be dropped by maybeaziz. Keeping the team pushing on through. Media from Xbada takes out kayjii. Andrew is taken to the sky, which means Necros has to be one of the people to touch the point here. They're actually pushing all the way back here as the front line. No one's on the point. No one is touching. They pushed a little bit too greedy. Necros is able to make their way back in and to keep on this, but they were taken down. Kragie goes down, and it's gonna be a wipe. And Schmungus are stopped at the first corner. 56 meters and 18 centimeters. Schmungus have a crazy history when it comes to Marvel Rivals, winning some of the first ever tournaments. They are one of the teams that everyone expects to keep an eye on, just due to how strong they actually are. So now here is the question. In Season 0, Schmungus were able to achieve a pretty high placing, landing in the top 16 before being eliminated. In Season 1, they got a little bit less far due to the fact that someone wasn't able to show up for the match and they had to forfeit. And now they're trying to go in for Ignite, but being stopped here by the Clover. A little bit less known as a team, not someone who've appeared on my radar as of yet, but now they have a chance to make a mark versus one of the most well-known teams in Marvel Rivals, here and now. Remember, the team that won this went 10-0 in the open qualifiers, and the team that lost went 9-1. Someone's perfect game is going to be shut down here. Reminder of how I'm covering these games as we head on in. I will be covering these games 1 day per region. I've already done Oceania, and I have done Asia. Today is EMEA. Tomorrow will be the Americas, and then I'll be moving on to the single elimination bracket phase, which actually starts the day I am recording this in about 24 minutes. So I'll be checking on that between some of the games I'll be casting. Lohe being dropped extremely low here, but maybeaziz putting on some great defense here as Bogor trying to drive back Lohe. Diamond form into the wall, but there's just too much sustain here. Lohe is able to back up. The focus, finally they're able to lock all in and take Lohe and Beta down. halfway towards the end objective, but remember, this is how far Schmungus pushed in the entire round. And the Clover have to try and break this siege. No real adjustments here. Andrew is back on that Vanguard, as is Bogor. Going back to a 2-2-2 Silent Vortex, sends Zerk down to the ground, at least for a moment. NSS trying to send in the shots, trying to take out Necros. Low, taken down by Kragie this time. Shots, Flaming Media to knock back NSS. Guardian Barrier keeps them sustained, keeps them pushing as they try to get that damage onto Bogor, the main person who's able to step up in this front line. Psychic Spear, little bit of damage, but it's mostly going to get blocked out by that Magneto. Would love to take out Zerks here, but Zerks already wrapping around to the side, playing it safe, sieging from above. The finish line is so close, but it's so hard to push around this corner on this map sometimes. Flaming Media coming in, Supernova for Necros to try and break this in. Zerks matching in exchange here. NSS was sent to the sky, but it's already been taken down. Meteorem from Andrew is gonna get blocked by the Mind's Aegis mid-air there. Supernovas expire. NSS taken out. Zerks gets Delcy in exchange though, making this a 1-for-1 as both these teams are just trading haymakers right now. Necros takes out Zerks. Kyojuro keeping the team topped up as best as they can. Necros keeps sieging. 1 minute and 36 seconds to go to get just a few more meters. 7 meters and it's over. Media M coming in, Psionic Seduction, Fate of Both Worlds is going to be burned to make sure that they can sustain on through this, but here comes the counter from maybeaziz. Kyojuro taken down. Kragie with that Goddess of Death, getting some good DPS off. Mini numbers are currently very much in favor of Schmungus to try and hold this defense, taking out Lohe. It's starting to stagger as Necros charges in, picks up the double with 1 minute to go. We will see the retreat out of Schmungus back to the point. They just have to hold for a couple more seconds. 50 seconds remain between Schmungus' perfect round or the Clover performing an upset. The shots are coming in, committing as hard as they can to trying to break this siege. Bogor zoning up, Psionic Seduction into the backline, trying to get onto NSS and swap to the side once again, gets him, but it's not enough for the finishing blow. It's around the corner, no one's there for the follow-up. Necros has got the Supernova as they push on in, and it's an absolute massacre. The front line is disintegrated, the back line is eviscerated. What is there left? Can they make their way in? Lohe has swapped to Strange, but they're being taken by the fire. 5 seconds left. Flaming Media could interrupt their portal to come on in, but they don't touch in time. They made it. They went as fast as they could to try and buy time, but they were a bit too slow. What with the flames zoning them out, the fear was shown, and with that Schmungus hold the point and will take their game, and they went 10-0 in the open qualifiers. Necros taking MVP there. Very nicely done. Let's have a look at some of these statistics. What a close game between these two teams. Literally meters in it. Most eliminations does go over to a tie between Necros and Kragie. Both of them getting 15 eliminations here. Least amount of times getting eliminated is a two-way tie between Andrew and kayjii, both only getting taken out twice here. Bogor was, of course, playing a little bit further up, allowing Andrew to keep them protected. If anyone got past Bogor, they were likely just going to get crystal kicked, and Andrew was able to siege from behind that way. Speaking of, top final hits is once again, is not going to be Necros or Kragie this time. This one goes over to Zerks, who did huge work for their team here, really making up for at least trying to get some of those counter pickups. 14 final hits. Doesn't show in the damage though. They actually get the third highest damage in the game here, with 16k, being beaten out by both Kragie, who got 16k and 900, as opposed to 16k and 500, beating them by about 400 damage. But Necros, showing why Human Torch is banned so many games, 22k. That is a significant amount more, an entire 6,000 more. If you added either of the two strategists together in terms of DPS, they would both still be less damage added onto Zerks than Necros got by themselves. So Necros did do more damage than 3 players. Extremely good job there. Damage blocked. 37k. It is going to be beta. Only going to take it out 4 times. It's not bad as well. They gave it their best shot here, absorbing as best as they could. Low on the Emma Frost as well, giving every bit as much damage and tankiness as they could. And they did get taken out more than their contemporaries, Bogor and Andrew, but the fact is they did still put up a solid fight and were able to hold Schmungus for that length of time. They did their job. And the healing. A little bit lower on the side of Schmungus there. They seem to be a little bit more potentially efficient with their amount of damage their Vanguards take. You can see how little damage they did take in comparison to Beta and Low with 23k and 21k, so the healing numbers are going to be lower. 28k and 19k. And then you compare that to Clover here. 32k and 29k with maybeaziz. Going to be taking the top spot there with 32k healing. Beautifully done. An intense matchup between these teams, and I hope you are all enjoying these games today because there's a couple more to come. If you see like any disjointed edits, it's because I have a pause recording button, and because I'm doing like 9 games in a row here, I might take a little breaks myself, so if you see me disappear, that's why. But for now, I need to get our next game loaded up, and of course give a shout out to our wonderful members who help keep this channel going. So once again, if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. These will help with the algorithm. Subscribe so you can get these videos when they do actually come out. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you see the videos when they come out. When I put stuff out like the Rivals Esports Recap, my little esports news show that covers all of the esports from the previous week, including all the independent stuff, then you can so that doesn't get pushed out to everyone because it's a little more niche content. So if you like it, make sure you ring the bell so you see when it comes out. And of course, if you want to support directly, you can do so by sending a super, aka hitting the thanks button on your message, on your comments, which really helps out the channel. It's basically a donate button. Or you can become a member to help support the channel by paying a monthly subscription, which it gets you a shout out and it gets you the videos that I release for members only a day early. If I go on holiday or I go out for work, then you get the videos multiple days early because obviously I pre-upload as much as I can and I pre-record everything. For example, what day is this coming out? Today is... what day is it? Where am I? Who am I? It is Thursday, so today's video is OCE, tomorrow's video is Asia, this video I'm recording is going to be Saturday, and then Sunday is going to be America, and then I'm out for Monday, Tuesday. So if you subscribe today, you will be getting like 3 videos early instead of the usual 1 per day, so you'll get a little bit of extra value for your membership if you do that, but don't consider it that. I know full fact that what I'm giving there isn't the best value because that's just what it is. I've put my prices here at basically the minimum that YouTube recommends here. And the whole point is if you're doing it, you get the videos early and you support me. And that is why I appreciate it. I'm never going to tell you, hey, do this. It's great value for money because the fact is it's your money. You pay what entertainment you think is worth. But I'm out here just trying to make Marvel Rivals content. If you want to support me, it is incredibly appreciated. So shout out to Arso from BlueX Gaming. We'll probably be covering them tomorrow if they've done well. We have Doki Pokey. We have our longest running member, John. And our newest member, Lucas Tyson, who I did not know was a member until this exact moment because it happened last night. So here we are. Thank you all very much for the support as I load up our next game. It is that one. Alrighty. And I picked out this game. There it is. Okay. Let's head on in to our second game of the day. This is going to be such a long video. We're already 19 minutes in. Let's head on in and introduce our new team. So, one of our teams in this matchup went 10-0. The other one went 7-3. So still a solid performance, one that might allow them to qualify. Introducing MaliciousV and ULU MULU. Now, neither of these teams have really come across my radar as of yet. I recognize a couple of the players, but in terms of actually appearing in the games I have been casting for the ranked stuff or in too many tournament stuff, these players are all a little new to me, so this is quite exciting. We're heading to Krakoa. It is a domination. And, yep, we're seeing that Human Torch getting banned away here. Psylocke, though, will be protected. In Asia and OCE, Psylocke is one of the go-to bans. Just so strong, so powerful, gives you all that extra protection. And we're also going to see the Groot getting taken out here. Loki is protected. Now, next ban for ULU MULU. I just realized one of these players' names, and with my British accent, that's going to be very fun to say. We're going to have the Hulk taken out here. That, of course, does inadvertently nerf a potential Iron Man and also a potential Namor. But both of these can still be played without the team-up. They do just get, of course, a little bit stronger, especially Namor, with that team-up. You do see him significantly less when there isn't a Hulk on the board. Iron Fist going to be taken out. Backline dive. Starting to get hit here. Human Torch and Iron Fist, we've talked about it before, suffering the failures of success here, the trappings of success. They had such a huge rise to prominence in Season 2, and of course that has resulted in them being banned in almost every single game. Captain America is going to be quite high up there as well, a real rise in popularity in Season 1, but Season 2 is where we've started to see him starting to appear in even more games. So with Cap on the board, protected, available for either of these teams. Winter Soldier will be protected as a counter, a little bit of counter dive there, bionic hook to try and lock people down. Soldier's Fist, a little bit of crowd control. And Jeff getting banned away here. How did they know? As BlueX was hovering that Jeff. These teams, of course, the limit was Grandmaster or above to enter into Marvel Rivals Ignite. It's not going to be surprising if these players have met each other before every now and again and are familiar, as Adam Warlock will be the last removed. We're locking in. We are seeing the Captain America appearing for both sides and the Winter Soldier, so we're going to see that team up. These teams are, in fact, identical. So it comes down to skill on a domination. When the teams are running identical setups, it comes down simply to who plays better. We'll have to see who is able to do so as we introduce our players. Ladies and gentlemen, on the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is MaliciousV. And playing for them, we have Noah on the Captain America. We have Sibrizzz going to be playing the Lunar Snow. We have Alter Staaf going to be playing on the Emma Frost. That's a name. sfGtNJK. If there is... Did I say an extra T? I don't know. If that is supposed to spell something, I don't know. We're going to be calling them SFG. Good lord, this is going to be a nightmare. They're playing the Psylocke. BlueX is going to be on that Loki, and Lohe will be on the Captain. Will be on the Winter Soldier. Nice team up with the Captain America there. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, it will be ULU MULU. With, I assume that is jealous. I don't know what vowel that X is. We'll go with jealous because it's the one that's a word. Because I don't think jealous or jealous. Can't think of jealous. We'll go with jealous. They are playing the Winter Soldier. Aylo! Everybody say Aylo. Aylo, it's going to be them on the Lunar Snow. Polishtrash is going to be on the Captain America. Going to get taken out here. Twtsy. Or Twitsy? Twtsy. Going to be playing that Psylocke. CrossFit is on the Emma Frost, acting very cross indeed. Regeneration Domain Lab going to be activated here. Interesting. Loki clones taken out. And oi, Baka123 is going to be on that Loki. This is ULU MULU, who have taken the first control. Gonna be making their way around to the side. If he's Captain America, does that make him polish garbage? Making their way around, retreating back to their team, getting healed up here. BlueX keeping the team topped up as Psylocke comes cruising through. Didn't even see him. Almost shut down. While they didn't see them on the first engage, they certainly saw them on the second. Shut down completely. Team up with the Winter Soldier here. Vibranium Buzzsaw into the backline as they try to push on through, but with that Fate of Both Worlds, it will be shutting down most of the engage as Sibrizzz with their own, and the God of Mischief from Baka 1, 2, 3 for the turnaround. Freedom Charge for Noah. Polish with the counter as the silent seduction comes in from CrossFit. Alter Staaf, who held on to theirs for a little bit longer. Now with their Fate of Both Worlds, but Blue with their own, their silent seductions, but Blue with their own Fate of Both Worlds, and Aylo with their final Fate of Both Worlds to try and counteract the start. The butterfly comes into the backline, but Weird Team are holding through. No one is going down here. Kragie Impact comes in from Lone, looking for a pickup. Takes out CrossFit, but they're going to get frozen. Kragie Impact onto the Loki clones. 4 resets. Number 1, 2, 3. It is absolutely brutal here. No resets, though. Where'd the resets go? I am very confused what happened there, but hey, they all went down. So there we go. MaliciousV going to be able to take control of the point as ULU MULU will get pushed back here. Going to regroup, send some shots up to the high ground, trying to get some hits onto Noah and onto Lohe, who retreats down to the low ground and back onto the point. Starting hook onto Emma Frost, immediate diamond form to try and get out of there. And regeneration domain will set that off, will prevent any more dive, but now that's a big sustained tool, allowing freedom for Captain America to push into the backline without a lot of that anti-dive potential. That's immediately we're going to see here diving onto BlueX to try and take out the Loki, but not enough for the finishing blow. Team up onto the Winter Soldier as they push on in. Fate of Both Worlds to allow them to push back in. Malicious's making their way back to the point as they did lose it to ULU MULU here, who are now on 85% compared to Malicious' 45. They are behind Fate of Both Worlds from the God of Mischief. Baka to try and take this down. Sonic Seduction and Sibrizzz changed theirs to get with their own Fate of Both Worlds, but Aylo is the last one in order, meaning that they've delayed theirs the longest. Big interrupt onto sfG as they try to turn this round onto Staaf with their own Sonic Seduction. Here come both Captain Americas with the Freedom Charge, trying to hold this, but Noah held theirs for longer. Jealous went in with the Kraken Impact, but found nothing. Onto the butterfly onto sfG into the backline. Lone takes out twtsy. Lone, the last one to ult here in this fight. Kraken Impact! It's a double! It's a triple! And it looks like Malicious may be able to reclaim this point here. Down goes Cap. And on 99%, MaliciousV are able to take back control of the point. 54% to 99. MaliciousV can't afford to lose control again. ULU MULU have control. They just need one more cap and they will win this round. Taking a couple shots. Can you guys tell which team is supposed to be the team with only 7 wins? Because it's not easy. There are some signs, but it's not as clear-cut as that score might suggest. CrossFit's pushing in. Psychic Spear going to get blocked out by the Mind's Aegis here. Counter for a little bit of follow-up damage. Noah's on the wraparound into the backline. The regeneration domain will shut it down. Soldier's Fist nearly takes down Noah, forcing out that Fate of Both Worlds for the turnaround as Baka is going to be making their way in with their own Fate of Both Worlds. Blue pre-clones in advance to make sure they have it to try and counteract that Kraken Impact from Jealous. They make their way in looking for reset number 2, but the Fate of Both Worlds is shutting it down. Psionic Seduction pulls them in. It's going to be up to Lone once again. If they can find more resets, starts in the butterfly is doing huge damage. The healing is running out. Kraken Impact 1, 2. The count from Sesame Street is angry. They push on in, looking for a reason. There's so many red bars, but no one's going down. Noah will be the first to fall, matching with Jealous here as ULU MULU are trying to push them back on the point. It's 99 to 99. Who is going to take control here? There's a lot of red health bars as Blue Team are starting to run on down, and it's going to be ULU MULU who are taking control. The final pickup there. Portal to delay one more time. Regeneration domain, giving them a little bit of extra time. Noah making the sacrifice play to buy a little bit of extra time. Tony, there was no other way. Wolverine to try and push people off the point, finds no one, but percentage damage could be good. Forced to retreat, grab a map heal, but because they're off the point, overtime ticks on down. And ULU MULU will be claiming round number 1 on Krakoa as we head to Carousel. The Hellfire Gala is open to all. Are we going to see any compositional adjustments? Looks like no. Everyone's seemingly pretty happy with what's been going on. And to be fair, that was a 99 to 99. Both teams performing exceptionally well. Let's have a look at the statistics at the halfway point. Lone, as no one is surprised, with the highest final hit rate, with 6 final hits and the highest damage, 19k. CrossFit, just a little bit behind them though, with 18k, is keeping up. Healing output, pretty even between the two teams here. There's a very minor lead for Aylo, but it's not significant enough to be really that notable, at least at this stage. See if that changes as we head on into point number 2. The carousel is open. Who is going to bring the party into the backline with Captain America and Psylocke? Fate of both worlds being dropped extremely early to counteract that psionic seduction. Sibrizzz keeping their team up. Here comes the counter from Aylo, keeping their team sustained as the point is activated. They're so close to beginning some of that percentage for themselves. Big dive there. Polish into the backline for that little bit of extra sustain as Alter Staaf taken out by Julius with the Soldier's Fist. Dance to the butterfly for twtsy. Picking up the double. That's going to be a team wipe. And once again, ULU MULU will be the team to get the first percentage on the board. Remember how this works. The top 32 teams from these open qualifiers move on to the actual bracket stage. So losing here isn't the worst situation. You still have a chance, assuming your score is high enough to make your way into that bracket. It's not the easiest situation to be in. And the fact that the EU setup here, sorry, the EMEA setup here, has so many teams with 10 wins and close to 10 wins, really is a terrifying factor. Some of these teams I've been seeing are absolutely wild that they're even here. Kraken Impact coming in from jxlus, trying to make their way in. Takes out 2, make it 3. It's an absolute massacre as this time ULU MULU are dominating. Much less close than round number 1 so far. MaliciousV, they have to adjust. They have to start making their way back in because we're already on 64%. And ULU MULU are stepping up, looking to maybe set up a containment here. Damage is coming in from jxlus. Lone does have their own Kraken Impact. Looks for a hook, does not find it. He's trying to get the invisible Psylocke. That continues to pressure from the side. Here comes the psionic seduction. Regeneration domain labs are getting melted here, pulling in multiple members. But is there enough damage as CrossFit is dropped down here? sfG into the backline with the Dance of the Butterfly and the Fate of Both Worlds to make sure that they can try and make something happen. Trying to take out some of those Loki clones. And there it is on 97%. MaliciousV pulled the trigger. They even held on to Kraken Impact because they do have one more tool left. But they now have to hold for what is essentially a 100-0. No pressure. Ultimate-wise, 82% for BlueX. They will have a Fate of Both Worlds coming soon. But that's going to be Aylo with the Fate of Both Worlds. Trash with a Freedom Charge there. Dance of the Butterfly for twtsy. And Oi 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 Baka immediately faded both worlds with that God of Mischief so that they can sustain their team through, picking it up. They don't even need to use the Fade of Both Worlds. They just hit him with the shift, and that is going to be an absolute massacre. 98, 99, and GG. Didn't even need to ult. Just give me Lunar Snow, do damage, done. Straight Dungeon Rings, and that was so different to round number 1. Well played. Oi, oi, oi! Baka 1, 2, 3 taking the MVP. Let's look at some of those statistics. Most eliminations is going to be twtsy, with 25 eliminations, beating out jxlus and Lone. Least amount of times getting eliminated. Shout out to Aylo, only getting taken out 3 times, same as CrossFit. Both of them able to stay up. Frost and Snow staying alive together. Top final hit, by 1. twtsy was able to beat out Lone, really recovering after game number 1 to bring it back in round number 2. Top damage, though, is going to be Lone. They still dominated. 25k, next highest is CrossFit with 23, then jxlus with 22. Lone put on a clinic there on that Winter Soldier, really doing their best to try and take it for their team, but it is going to be ULU MULU that did take the win. Top damage blocked, 32k. With CrossFit, once again, almost topping another stat here. Getting 2k more damage blocked than Noah. And 7k more damage blocked than Alter Staaf. Very solid here. And top healing at the end of that round. It's pretty close with 28k healing for both Sibrizzz and Oi 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 Baka 1, 2, 3. 26k just behind them for BlueX, but with 29k beating them by a couple hundred, it is going to be Aylo from ULU MULU taking the most healing. A close matchup between these teams, but yes, that does mean that ULU MULU went 10-0 in these qualifiers. And MaliciousV went 7-3. Not impossible that they make it through to the next round, but that 10-0 is obviously going to be a little more encouraging for ULU MULU. 2 down, many more to go. And we are heading to 2 extremely familiar names. Like, these are very familiar names if you have been around the European scene, especially in, like, Season 0 and also a little bit of Season 1 as well. These 2 teams are familiar. One of these teams went... Oh, hang on. Actually, I can get an up-to-date number here because I actually wrote down this number a little bit ago. So hang on. Give me a moment, fam. Let's see if they kept playing. Where are you? There they are. They have not finished playing. So, one of these teams is 10-0, as you would expect. The other is currently 3 wins out of 6 games. So they are at a 50-50 win rate so far, when of course you want to be playing 10 games. So there is still a chance for them to potentially not qualify, but they are getting some wins on the board. They are also a familiar name. So both of these teams are very familiar names. So let's load this one up. And head on in to our 3rd series of 9. On the left, a very familiar name, especially if you were around in Season 0, as they did extremely well, Oblivione. And on the right, another very familiar name from Season 1, where they made an incredible run. It's the Unclés. Some fun performances. Oblivione, they made it as far as Schmungus in Season 0. Putting on quite the show. In Season 1, though, they made it all the way to the lower bracket round 12, which is the final 8, before getting taken out by OG. The Unclés, the furthest they have made it is in Season 1, where they lost to Team Peps in the lower bracket round 10, which is the final... Hang on, doing maths. I believe that would make it the final 16, if I remember correctly. So, Oblivione do have a little bit of a favourites lead here, as they have gone further in an official Marvel Rivals tournament in the past. We're going to see a very Vanguard-focused banning strategy from Oblivione, with Captain America and Groot going to get taken out here. Human Torch and Loki will be the removals for the Uncles. Protections. Hela, once again, getting protected here, as is Lunar Snow and Emma Frost. Psylocke still on the board, and is in fact going to be protected for the Uncles. Always either picked or banned, it seems. Iron Fist, yet to be banned by either side. Not everyone plays it. Those that do will often see it banned out, but not every team seems to have an Iron Fist player. Hulk going to get taken out again. And Adam Warlock will once again get removed. The strategy still works. And Adam Warlock did receive a little bit of a buff during the season. Land those headshots, get even more healing cooldown reduction. Can give you some really solid value. So we are loading on in. We're seeing Psylocke's, Magneto's, classic setups here. There's that Emma Frost for both sides. The triple X-Men setup. It's a solid beginning as we are preparing to head into Hell's Heaven. Another domination. As we shall introduce our players. On the left-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, in the blue trunks, it is going to be Oblivione with Felix on the Lunar Snow, Ashh on the Emma Frost. Fraud playing the Rocket, but might swap off it. We will see, for now, just dropping that Battle Reverb beacon for the little bit of extra heat, extra overhealth before people head onto the point. M2Zuri will be on the Magneto. Olegattoor will be playing the Psylocke here. Look at that! Rocket's packed lunge plus Fraud giving their team a speed boost with the bubbles from the Jeff, and then swapping over to the Invisible Woman because they have a fairly fast rollout with the double jump. And finally we have Intent on the Hela. And on the right-hand side, it is going to be the Uncles with Balass playing the Psylocke here. Maverickᶻ on the Emma Frost. Tato is playing the Invisible Woman, dropped low here. Salsa will be playing the Magneto. Basong currently on the run with that Astral Flock getting out of there on that Hela. That's quite a name. I'm not going to try and read that as like the actual number because you don't do maths on stream. Every caster knows this. So we're just going to call them 306. They are playing the Lunar Snow. To Zuri. Keeping the siege just right now. Oblivione has already claimed the first point. There's the Diamond form with the engage, sending everyone down to the low ground here. And Murray... M2Zuri gets the pickup. Going to drop that team up with the Emma Frost and get out of dodge here. As they are dropped low, map heal. We'll give them a little bit of extra sustain as the Uncles will claim back the point. The Salsa is trying to give chase. Magneto duel. Ah, no respect for the 1v1. Invisible Woman makes their way in unless Salsa is forced to retreat, but they've made it back to their team. Phoenix keeping the pressure on. Olegattoor. I've covered this player and Fraud and quite a few others multiple times. Olegattoor dropped low, forced to get out of there. Going for the clone Fade of both worlds. Dropped immediately by 306. Felix will be matching in exchange here. It's quite a slow and steady game so far. Not a huge amount is actually blowing up yet. There we go. There it is. Olegattoor with the dance of the butterfly into the backline to try and take down the backliners and will take out 306. Gets pulled in with the Soul Siphon. Not enough for a finishing blow. Psychic Stealth. Gonna try and take the duel from almost no health. Drops the spray. Psychic Stealth. One more duel. Shuriken Dash. Does not take the 1v1. Lets it go. But M2Zuri was able to take down Maverickᶻ. Keep the team topped up as right now Oblivione are behind the Uncles on 60%. Oblivione on 40. With Oblivione in control. They are catching up here. Quite back and forth, like we said, slow and steady. These teams both just looking for openings. They're also splitting off independently a lot more often, staying as a group significantly less. House of the Butterfly finds no one as Balass almost gets sent into the void there, but is going to stay upright as the Unclés look to continue to try and take this point back. Here comes the Psionic Seduction from Maverick, matching Ashh here, pulling in Olegattoor, who is taken down by La Salsa. Trying to get onto Ashh. Diamond form, locking them down, takes out Magneto, turns their attention onto Ashh, but a Fate of Both Worlds will shut this down. 81% Oblivione using this Fate of Both Worlds to delay, get themselves closer to that full percentage here, as Hela gets absolutely wiped out of their ultimate here. Force push! Guardian Barrier, all that's able to keep Intent alive there as they get healed up nice and quickly. Fate of Both Worlds from 306 will expire. On 92%, the Unclés take back control. The Salsa making their way up to the high ground. Continuing to push on in. So often is the Magneto seemingly splitting off from the rest of their team. Trying to find the right angle, 82% to 92% in favor of Oblivione, but the Unclés have the point, and Basong has that Goddess of Death. This may be the tool that could give the Unclés the round. Gonna be sent into the sky. Media M will block a lot of this damage, trying to find the angles. Dropping nothing for the moment, someone said we'll just continue their focus. Media M for a blow-up, and just gets wiped by olegattoor, who is creating a massacre here. Balass in exchange. It's the 1v1, but Balass is becoming out ahead here as the Unclés will take round number 1. Another exceptionally close game. The score that we've already talked about being 3 out of 6 compared to a 10 out of 10 does not display how close these teams are, and that's the issue with an open qualifier. Sometimes you may just get a very hard run that might not be reflective of your overall score in the end. However, there is still a hope for both of these teams, but first step first, got to win this match. Get that extra point on the board. Let's see what they can do as they make their way in. No compositional adjustments, but we do see another Rockets Pack lunch. Do we see a Jeff swap? Give them a speed boost out onto the point. Yes, we do. Bubbles for the speed boost. Rockets Pack lunch for the extra armor. You can see that everyone here has a little bit of blue on their health bar. That is the little bit of extra armor that they have from that Battle Rebirth beacon. Olegattoor even getting a jetpack, which does continue even if you swap off Jeff, and then moving on to the even if you swap off Rocket, then moving on to the Jeff for a speed boost from your bubbles, and then onto the Invisible Woman so that you can rejoin your team. Luna Snow also works quite well with this because they have a very fast rollout. Mantis is going to be another great choice. Basong taking an inside route, trying to get their attention onto olegattoor, but utilizing the clones is able to bamboozle and distract as Basong going to get force pulled down to the low ground here, dropped down and taken out here. Phoenix Fate of Both Worlds. They're going in real aggressive damage boost even. As that's going to be Oblivione taking control of the point. The Unclés forced back, and a containment is beginning to get set up. As look how far forward Oblivione have managed to push up here. Really trying to lock in control. Sending some pretty good damage. Ashh has that Psionic Seduction. Could go for a hard engage. Drop the Mind's Aegis for the moment. Another flanking Magneto hit. Psionic Seduction gonna be burned, forced pulled to try and get Magneto out the way so they can turn their focus onto the backline here. Does not find what they want here, but Maverick going to be dropping their own Psionic Seduction as Intent takes to the sky, trying to focus onto Basong or onto the Invisible Woman, drops low, one shot away, but they are taken down as the Unclés will smash on through and take control of the point. 57% to 0, but the Uncles are getting on the board.
Another senseless battle over. Hooray!
Back and forth movements. These teams are looking for their opportunity. Looks like they're going for a bit of a wraparound here. A low ground wraparound for olegattoor. They have Dance and the Butterfly looking to flank their opponents here. Keep an eye on the rest of the team making their way through the central entranceway. Fire a little wrap from the side. Here comes the Dance and the Butterfly being counteracted by the Goddess of Death to absorb. Pops down, taken out though. And again, we're just seeing so little value as La Salsa Media Ram, not enough for the finishing blow here, and so many times we're just seeing ultimates used, and then the person who used them immediately getting focused down. The targeting from these teams is absolutely crazy. As Oblivione are able to hold the point, taking it back as the Uncles are forced off 65 to 47. With Oblivione extending their lead, olegattoor taken down by La Salsa. I mean, there's a short period of numbers advantage here for the Uncles if they make their way in. Won't last for long, so they gotta start trying to make it happen. Dance and the Butterfly into the back line, going to try and take these out, but the Fate of Both Worlds will counteract the damage output. Will likely allow him to sustain on through. Felix with the play here. Olegattoor is going to be arriving back at this stage as Tato falls. No strategist ultimates available for the Uncles, and as such, they do not have to sustain to deal with the turnaround from Oblivione, who do lose 2 members, but it's going to be a significantly bigger loss for the Uncles as they go down, and it looks like we're going to see a 1-to-1 as round number 2 may be going over to Oblivione as Portal was not available in time. Oblivione take round number 2, meaning that we are heading to Frozen Airfield for the final matchup in this round. Are any of these teams going to try adjusting? Both taking a side each so far. Let's have a look at the statistics at the end of 2 rounds here. Ashh on 10 final hits here. Top damage is going to be Intent, who's been doing such a good job so far. And that's even with them getting blocked out most of the time. Top eliminations, though, is going, or top final hits is going to be Balass with 11. Doing some big work. Basong keeping up in terms of damage, but has been struggling to find those final hits. Only on 3 here, and also on 5 times being eliminated. The highest amount of times being eliminated in the game, though, is olegattoor, who has been taken out 8 times. Really getting targeted this game. Top healing is going to be Felix on 22k. And top damage absorbed, top damage tanked is Maverickᶻ. Going to be making their way in. Let's start off with Intent. An incredibly good player. Someone who has had the hella banned against them in previous MRCs. Now going to get back on it and immediately start dropping out the damage. You can see the map awareness. Try to watch your flanks, watch your 6. You know there's Psylocks in the game. You know you're going to get focused down. As in comes the Psionic Seduction, as Basong is going to be the first to fall. Invisible Boundary and Fate of Both Worlds both being used here. A miscommunication from the Uncles could be disastrous, as all of their strategist elements are about to expire at the same time with Goddess of Death active. It's an absolute doorway bonanza, and everything is half price as we see Oblivione showing their intent and smashing through the Uncles. And that is why communication is so important. Dropping your strategist ultimate at the same time as your teammate removes all value. You have just lost, especially if it's in Lunar Snow, 12 seconds where your team could do basically whatever they want. You look on the other side, Oblivione. Felix still has their own Fate of Both Worlds here. They have the tools for the turnaround. Side introduction going to be coming in, Dance and the Butterfly into the back line, and once again with no strategist ultimates available, it's another massacre, but Maverickᶻ does get a double, make it a triple, but they are going to get focused down, taken down here. It's a 4 for 3 currently. Balass doing some crazy work here, but it looks like Oblivione will come out on top. M2 Zuri barely making it out of there, but the fact is they did survive. Waiting for their strategist to rejoin them. Guardian Barrier. And they will get healed back up. Making their way back in. Balass has Dance of the Butterfly. Felix has that Fade of Both Worlds. Balass spotted immediately here. Trying to get into the backline. Taken out immediately. These teams are so on point with how quickly they react to the second anyone shows their face. Nice lockdown with the snowball. Exactly what I'm talking about here. Magnetic Curtain. Try and make their way in. Pushing onto the point. Olegattoor on the high ground. Fade of Both Worlds. Dropped quite early, but it's going to be enough to keep La Salsa up. Here comes Felix. Matching so their team can push on through. Media M for La Salsa. Blocked by the Magneto. Here comes the Psionic Seduction from Ashh. Maverick does not have theirs available. M2 takes out Balass with the Meteor M. Dance of the Butterfly. Olegattoor interrupted, not getting it, but it's Intent who takes to the sky and rains down pain onto that Emma Frost. They need to step onto the point though. Taken out, shut down, and Oblivione will take the round, take the game, and will have gone 10-0 in these open qualifiers. It's not surprising to see a team like Oblivione here, a team that has made it so far in previous tournaments, making their way back onto the board here, showing what they can do. But the fact is, we did see the Uncles putting on quite a stellar performance, bringing it back in some cases here. And the Uncles, they have taken down some powerful teams. They took down Luminosity Gaming EU, I believe, at one point. And also, I believe, if I remember correctly, that they might have beaten Schmungus. Either way, it's a strong team with good pedigree. I will not be surprised if we do see them in those actual single elimination bracket games, which of course I will be casting after I have covered the American games as well. Because hooray, all the replays are available for the public. Thank you, Marvel Rivals, for this wonderful gift for a guy who just likes casting. Because he really bloody does. Let's talk about our stats here. 23 eliminations for Intent is the highest in the game. Least amount of times getting eliminated is a tie between M2 Zuri and Felix. Both only getting taken out 4 times. Most amount of times getting eliminated is a two-way tie. A 4-way tie between Olegattoor, Maverick, 306, and Tato. Most final hits, 13. Balass, we were talking about it. Really putting their team on their back and just doing everything they can to try and get them back into it as best they could. La Salsa did some good work as well. On the other side, though, M2 Zuri and Ashh, both with over 10 final hits themselves. Intent with 7, Olegattoor with 11. It just is a bit more of a heavy lead that way. Most damage done, though, does go over to Intent. 19k. We talked about it. We've seen them banned out in the past just due to how strong they are. And yet they've been able to get their hands on this Hela once again just due to how strong the duelist meta is at the moment. While Vanguards are getting the most attention due to people like Groot and Emma Frost and Captain America. We do still see some incredible stuff. It shows how powerful the Human Torch is that they are getting banned ahead of Hela in certain situations here when you have players who are just this good with her. Top damage blocked, 31k for Maverick. Doing everything they could to try and defend their team, but getting caught out and locked down a couple times there. And top healing by 1k, it's close. It is going to be 306, topping the healing numbers, which is impressive considering they got 1k more healing than Felix, who was alive for, who got taken out half the amount of times. An impressive setup there. But that's going to be it for that game. We have so many more to do, so we shall move on. Okay, was that game 3? That was game 3, and we are already an hour in. This is going to be a long one. I'll probably do the next one, then I'll probably do a quick recording pause to take a little break and have a drink. That's probably sensible. So that I don't absolutely destroy my voice. Okay. Next is that one. Okay. right then. In order to avoid showing like the same teams multiple times, some of these are not going to look as close. There we are. So, one of these teams went 10-0. The other went 3-7. So, did not qualify. So, this one is going to be significantly different as we are heading on in. We have, on the left, Central Park. We finally have a not domination game. We finally have convergence. We have looking for sponsor versus Team Castle. Surely led or coached by Frank. Couple names that are familiar here, but overall, a lot of new names for me today. And it's the joy of these open qualifiers. We discover new players, different players. Groot. Going to be on the board here. Taken away along with that Human Torch. This is what we'd expect to see in our normal ranked bans. Groot, Human Torch, maybe at my level, a lot of Spider-Man bans. Because no one can hit him. It's going to be a Hulk protection this time. Banned out in literally every game so far. Will finally make it onto the board. Emma has been almost consistently omnipresent in most of the games we've had so far. We'll see another showing. But with the Hulk on the board, we see the Iron Man taken away. Could we possibly see a ban onto the board as well? Could Team Castle just try and go for the double removal? Magneto taken away. Can knock back the Hulk, team up with Emma, of course. It's a tough setup to deal with, so I'm just going to take it away. Now, do LF sponsor potentially protect Namor? Or would they prefer if Team Castle just used that second ban and opened up more strategic options? Because if they ban out that Namor, then you've opened up options for Winter Soldier strategies, for a Star-Lord and a Warlock composition. You've given yourself many options if you leave that available. So LF sponsor. They're going to protect the Rocket. Interesting choice. It is good, but it's seeing a lot less play in Pro play than it is in Ranked. Psylocke protected once again. 2 out of 4 Flyers have been taken off the board. 2 out of 5 if you count Iron Fist. More like Flying Fist. Am I right, guys? What are we going to see? Team Castle will remove the Loki. They let the Namor go through. Is that something that LF sponsor want, though? Final ban for this game. Invisible Woman, another character who's seen play in almost every single game so far. Gonna be taken away. And immediately we're going to see an interesting draft. I don't know how much of this will make it out the door for looking for sponsor, because that is creative. We'll get to it in a moment. Team Castle, they're sticking a little bit more standard with a Spider-Man Venom team-up comp. Look at the dive, the backline. Also, looking at a Cloak and Dagger. Now, that is also interesting just due to the fact that Cloak and Dagger is a little bit weak, considered to be a little bit weaker by other pro players in this season. We're not seeing it much at all. And wow, yeah, this is making it entirely out of the base. Let's introduce the players and then let's talk about what is up with this composition, because it's creative and it does kind of fill every requirement. It just looks weird. So let's talk about the players first. On the left, in the blue trunks, it is going to be LF sponsor, with Tim CJ on the Rocket Raccoon. Onax is going to be playing the Jeff. Froston is playing that Namor. Lumik is going to be playing the Mr. Fantastic. Stassi is on the Lunar Snow. And Bad Good Player is playing the Hulk. And on the right, on attack, it is Team Castle with with Adham or ADHAM99. I assume it is Adam99 playing the Emma Frost. Rio on the Lunar Snow. Bin? I don't know how to pronounce that one. BJN is going to be playing the Venom. Foxtail on the Cloak and Dagger. NMK3K... NMK3MKM. Thanks for that name to pronounce. You're on the Psylocke. And Spider-Man is being played by Aatrox. Being forced back to spawn. So let's talk about this composition. They do not have a double Vanguard, but they've made up for it with a triple strategist, a Mr. Fantastic, who is the tankiest damage dealer, the tankiest duelist. They have some of the best healing output here with the Rocket and the Lunar Snow hit. Keep their main healing onto their Vanguard so that they can stay sustained, kept alive. Their damage output is highly defensive against dive, due to the fact they do have these multiple strategists, and they have this Namor and Mr. Fantastic. And of course, one of their strategists fills in a little bit of extra tankiness and a little bit of extra healing because it's Jeff. Does huge damage on the flank, does huge sustain when need be, and is actually really hard to take down because they are quite tanky. This composition actually fills all the, like, quote-unquote requirements of a usual composition. And as such, we are seeing LF sponsor. How serious they are about this composition is questionable, but the fact is, it fills the requirements and is working. And so far, Onax is untouched in the backline, just doing huge damage back here. Going to charge through their team. What the heck just happened? I think Onax may have got a little bit stuck there. Might not have really got who they wanted or where they wanted. Going to be making their way to the backline as the Hulk cleaning them up. And it's going to be another absolute massacre. But Frosted was taken down by the enemy Namor, but it did not matter because they were brought back at the BRB, and it's going to be another full cleanup for LF sponsor. Adam going to try and portal their way in. No, radioactive lockdown shuts down the portal. We'll be swapping off Soldier's Fist attempted from Aatrox to try and take down Onax, who is just continuing to absolutely bully. Finds the BRB, takes that down, sieges the backline with the Lunar Snow empowered attacks to slow down the enemy. Bubbles to keep themselves up. Fate of Both Worlds will be forced to be used to buy time here. Aatrox is sent into oblivion by Bad Good Player. Tossed off the side of the map. And BJN locked down, staggered so that they are not joined up with the rest of their team. And this is an incredible performance by LF sponsor with a very creative draft. Sending in the shots, absorbing the damage, retreats to their healers, gets pulled in, but is protected by that indestructible guard from the Hulk. Healing from their team, and entering into the inflated form, takes out the Namor into the backline, and it's another full pickup here. With 21 seconds left. Who is left that can do anything? Foxtail could go for an outside wraparound. You see they're looking at it. They can at least try and touch the point. Buy overtime for their team. They've already been spotted. They've already been locked down. They're being focused here. Drops the seer here. Cosmic Yard Amplifier to buy time, but they did touch. They bought overtime. Aatrox is back on the Spider-Man, which will allow them to keep touching the point as well. Tries to pull someone off the map, does not land it, swings back in to try and touch anyone, but their team is getting zoned off the point. Adam with the Hulk smashes on the point. Onax only grabbing the Emma, but the Emma is all they needed, as that's going to be a 0%er for Team Castle. And looking for sponsor. They need a third. They need 1/3 of a point. Shout out to Foxtail. They knew the assignment. They knew that they do not win if they don't at least touch the point. So what do? They drop a BRB for their team. They throw out some healing orbs and they dash over. Using that outside route that only a couple hypermobile characters can take. And of course anyone with Groot walls. But Groot is banned. And they try to bring their team to the point with that extra overtime to buy a couple extra seconds. But looking for sponsor. Showing some creativity. Compositional adjustments for Team Castle as we are seeing an Adam Warlock on the board here with no team-ups. Just straight up revives. Whole strategy here is if they're just going to keep eliminating us, we might as well just make sure that we're on the point for as long as possible with every revive we have. Now, here is where I take issue with this composition. Strange. Unless you're planning to portal your opponent into base to buy some time, like right now, you should not be on Strange here, because your opponent only needs a third, meaning whoever gets eliminated first should immediately be swapping to Strange so that they can portal back to the point and hopefully portal other people in as well. Aatrox just got locked, they're in the out of lockdown and knocked off the map. But the fact is, I don't think you should be on Doctor Strange here. You should be leaving it for your team to reinforce. Nice freeze there. Rio with the setup, going to be shielding that incredible Hulk as they dive onto the point. Jeff has set an incredible ice field up for the point to buy that extra time. It's full sustain. Aatrox has already reinforced the way back in. Pulls back a player off the point, showing some Spider-Man setup here. Is trying to get onto that Lunar Snow, but has been absolutely bamboozled, outplayed. Where did they even go? Ardax sieging onto the point. Aatrox is looking, getting chased down by the Hulk. Not a matchup we see very often. Do it. Do it. Oh, the blocking shield with the indestructible guard shuts it down. Still being chased down here. Aatrox is having their own 1v1 over here. Oh, please. Oh, they're waiting for it. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for it. Oh, it's just off the map. It's so close. Indestructible guard will buy time. I'm invested. I'm invested in this 1v1. In the meantime, the game is might be ending. That's going to be the Cosmic Yard Amplifier. Wolverine has entered the fray to help close this out. Frosted to help close this out. And with the Jeff to finish anyone off the point, that is going to be game. With 33%, well played by looking for sponsor. They went 10-0 in these qualifiers. And Onyx will take MVP there. Absolute menace on this Jeff. Only 6k damage, but the fact is they were also slowing, they were also healing. Reports bad good player and Frosted for feeding apparently. Let's have a look at the statistics. Most eliminations is going to be a two-way tie between Lumique and Frosted. Both of which with 24 eliminations. Least amount of times getting eliminated, as we already mentioned, it's Lumique, Tim, CJ, Stassi, and Onyx. All four with 0 times getting eliminated. Most final hits is Frosted. They were on Namor, they were on Wolverine, they were mixing it up, but they still got the most final hits with 12. Jeff right behind them with 10. Doing huge work, as we already talked about here. 10k damage is not half bad either, only 4k behind. And more than anyone on the side of Team Castle. Most damage, though, does go over to Frosted, like we said, with 14k. Most damage blocked is over to BJN with 15k. Bad good player who was solo vanguarding for most of that game with 11k. Lumique with 8.8k. Keeping up a little bit further behind, but doing a pretty good job. And most healing, that would of course be the team that came second as they were taking more damage. They had more times that they need to step off onto the point. It's going to be 14k from Foxtail. Almost doubling anyone else in the game in terms of healing. Closest behind them is Rio with 10k. And that was an incredible set of matches so far. We are cruising through this. We are just under halfway. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a very quick break. I'm going to pause the recording. And when I come back, we'll be moving on to our next couple games. So for you, no time will pass at all. But that's why you're about to see a disjointed video of me disappearing for a moment. So be right back in just a couple seconds for you. And I'm back. Hello. That was hopefully just a couple seconds for you, but it was a few minutes of break for me. So we have our next matchup, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are excited, and of course, everyone in between. So, we are on to one team that has 10-0, and another, once again, that went 3-7. And, of course, the names are becoming more difficult to pronounce. Cariudo? I assume Cariudo. Versus Keluxeras. Keluxeras. We're guessing here. We guesses here. The comments are going to be full of so many pronunciation corrections, it will boost my algorithm. So please correct every pronunciation I got wrong in meticulous detail, preferably as an individual comment each time, so that it boosts my algorithm. It will actually legitimately be appreciated. We're starting off with Luna Snow and the Incredible Hulk getting banned away. This is our 5th match of the day. We have 4 after this, and plenty more familiar names for you all to enjoy. We've got, of course, some familiar names in this game. A couple I have cast in the past, in particular Crazy Kitty. This one I've cast a couple times on my casting of Season 2 top ranked games. How I've been filling the time between the esports seasons, as we will see the removal of the Human Torch. Wolverine being protected and Groot being protected. The first time we're seeing Groot allowed in the game. Emma Frost is getting removed. We're just allowing all the stuff that's usually allowed into, that's usually banned out in, and banning all the stuff we usually play. Ah, there we go. There's something that we've been playing pretty consistently. Invisible Woman will be protected this time. Captain America is also available. You can see Loki is still out here. Venom currently being hovered by proxy. Could go all in on a spider practice. And here is the Loki being protected once again. A little bit of outer dive just in case. And Hela will be removed. So there's a chance we could see a flyer here. If not, it's just because Hela is very, very strong. Final ban for Blood Cariudo. Adam Warlock. Very sensible. With a lot of these bans, with Hela taking out in particular, suddenly Star-Lord really rises up in priority, so taking out the hero that empowers them. Very sensible. Magic might be entering the board here. Could be going for a double dive potential here for Blood Cariudo. And we are seeing Keluxeras going with that Spider-Man Venom combo. I just need that final Vanguard. Preferably someone like a Magneto would be perfect here. Giving that quick magnetic barrier onto Spider-Man or Venom when they dive in to help protect them would be an incredible idea. But we'll talk about that as we start introducing our players. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of these teams went 10-0, one went 3-7. Let's find out which. On the left-hand side, on defense of Central Park, will be Blood Cariudo, with Leolas playing the Psylocke. Crazy Kitty will be playing the Wolverine. Zeddy will be on that Loki. Kath on the Invisible Woman. Gainer on that Magneto. And Monkey will be on the Groot. And on the right-hand side, it is Keluxeras with Saya playing the Rocket Raccoon. We have Proxy05 on the Venom. Jasper will be playing the Winter Soldier. Not a Smurf. Crazy Kitty just took down Proxy with falling damage. Wolverine somehow took Venom off the map without going down themselves. I have questions. Not a Smurf is on the Magneto. Octavia Blake takes out Kathea on that Spider-Man. And currently responding at the BRB, it is FIFO is cute on that Loki. Octavia is in the backline. Currently dropped down to just over half HP. Being tracked by Psylocke. We're just going to retreat back to their team here. Cancel the mobility. And they're going to try and maybe let's try and pull someone off the side again here. Finds Kath, force push. Really wants them here, but again, Psylocke is on the Wolverine also here, and they get picked off. looks like Kyojuro is on point now. They are prepared. Straggling Prison pulls in 3. They try to focus, but that's going to be a regeneration domain as they try to put all their focus onto that rocket. Wolverine doing some huge damage as in comes the Kraken impact from Jasper. No reset will be found though as the counter regeneration domain will shut this down. Crazy Kitty, final stand! Melts through, does a lot of damage, but not enough for a finishing blow. The invisible boundary will come out from Kyojuro. Media M snipes Leos. Leo goes down, Fifu, counter Meteor M from Gator to try and take out at minimum the Cosmic Yard Amplifier, which they will do as Kyojuro try to keep defending here as Proxy is diving deep to the backline, trying to take these out, but with another invisible boundary from Kath as the first was from Zenny with that extra clone. They're not able to do enough damage to finish the job and have had to pull back. Monkey showing why Groot is just so powerful here. Has been splitting the team in 2, blocking them away from their retreat, and is able to get another pickup there. Octavia, though, they are doing work. They're picking up eliminations here and there. They are a bit of a saving grace for their team right now. A little bit of damage onto the Invisible Woman, not enough for the finishing blow, but this time, once again, they are caught. A lot of healing coming in from FIFO on the clone of the rocket. Straggling Prison, Dance of the Butterfly. Leolas just absolutely massacred everyone here. Keloxrus finding the hiding Wolverine, tracks him down and picks up another elimination. Octavia, force push, trying to get away. Octavia, hi Zenny. It's not the real one anymore. Oh, it was the real one! It was the real one! It was a bait! Zenny setting the trap. Shuts down Octavia in the 1v1. Absolutely baited here as Jasper swapped to the thing, trying to break the front line that way. Here comes the spectacular spin in the back line, trying to take out the back line as the clobbering time into the front line, but Kath was able to get the invisible boundary, which shuts down the damage. Leolas will be taken out here as Meteor M comes in from Gator once again. Was aiming at the seer here, but it's not going to matter as Rocket is now on the run, trying to retreat. In attacking through, here comes Zenny with the clone from the God of Mischief. Final stab pushes them out though, takes them down, and that will shut down the healing output here. Here comes the Cosmic Yard Amplifier with a BRB dropped just in case someone does go down. Trying to make something happen here as Crazy Kitty is taken out by Jasper, who portaled in to hold the overtime as it's only 3 seconds left. Keloxrus giving everything they can to try and take this as Gator is pushed off the point by not a Smurf one to try and take this in. Monkey with the straggling Prison. Leolas is able to take down one. Octavia comes back at the BRB. Zenny takes out Jasper. They're giving everything they can to try and take this, but we're starting to see a lot of people go down. Gator on the Black Panther to help just finish off the last few bodies on the point. Dance of the Butterfly is going to expire, and that is going to be round 1 held at 0%. Another 0% hold. Kyojuro, sorry. So close to being able to log in and claim victory early here. Immediately, you see the composition being adjusted. Gator, Captain America, coming in here to give them a little bit of extra blow-up potential. Some backline dive to pressure. And an Iron Fist appearing in here. A Jeff with a big old noggin.
Get ready.
Iron Man. Oh, okay. Okay. Obscene. Obscene. Not a Smurf. Going to be pulling back. They were originally on the Punisher, but it looks like they're going to be switching off here. But onto what? Squirrel Girl. Okay. Now, you know what? I don't dislike this. It's got a little bit of a lockdown. It's got a little bit of disruption. It's got great solid damage as long as they are protected on the backline. being this far behind, it's not the worst choice. You can see the damage already being done here, setting themselves up. Gain is already pushing very deep in though, trying to make their way in. Vibranium Buzzsaw. Shield up, they will back away, slowly getting healed up by the rocket. Meantime, Octavia is deep in there, will get that magnetic barrier, and is picked off by Monkey. Leolaz on the Iron Fist. Creeping in. Looking for the backline, finding the real Loki. Oh, all three sending up those regeneration domain labs. Chases them off the point. Swapping back up, chasing the rocket, and Leolaz is just being sent on a wild raccoon and, well, God of Mischief chase, but it does not matter. While they were keeping the backline busy, their team is able to claim the point. Blood Kyojuro went 10-0. Securing their spot in that final 32. Getting into the single elimination bracket. And Monkey going to be claiming the MVP there, showing once again just how strong Groot is. Second highest eliminations in the game with 15. Crazy Kitty getting the most with 16. Least amount of times getting eliminated will be Crazy Kitty and Gainer, both only getting taken out one time. Top final hits is Monkey. No, sorry, it's not. It's Leolaz with 9. Monkey is second with 6, tied with Not a Smurf. Top damage, we've already mentioned it. It does go over to Monkey on Groot, out damaging the Wolverine / Psylocke / anyone really. Top damage blocked. Almost also Monkey, but it is going to be Proxy. With 20k damage blocked, those dives consistently setting up for their team, trying to make something happen. The Spider-Man, if we go by final hits, did go 3 and 5. Maybe it might have been worth swapping off that after the first round. They were trying to go for the pulling off the sides, but did they really find the value in that they might have otherwise wanted? That's what you've really got to question. After you have a round like that, do you double down or do you try to adjust? Top healing will go over to Saya, who got 17k healing, which is going to be 2k more than Zeddy, 4k more than Kath, and a solid 6k more than FIFO. Solid setup here. I am going to very quickly check to see what is the cutoff. How many games is it to lock in a spot in that double elimination? What is the cutoff here? Let's see. Check rankings. We're top 32. Looks like the minimum is 7 out of 10. And there's a couple who, like, aren't making that here. Just double checking. Yeah, 7 out of 10 is the cutoff, and there are a couple teams that, like, overlap. There's more people in that ratio. Like, there are currently 2 teams overlap of 7 out of 10 win rate teams outside of, like, the top 32. So we will not be seeing the continuation of kayjii. They will not be continuing their journey here. But we have plenty more matches for you today. 4 more to go. And this one, both teams are potentially going through, as one team is 10 out of 10 and the other one is 7 out of 10. The exact cutoff we just said means that they have a chance to make their way in. Let's load this up. We're heading in to our 5th? 6th? Our 6th game of the day. And the recording's only over an hour and a half. We're actually doing pretty well. We're probably going to get closer to 2.5 hours, as opposed to what I predicted before of like 5. So, some familiar names in terms of players here, but also a familiar name in terms of teams. 0% coming in here for Spider Islands. They will be on defense. Now, 0% is a legendary name in the form of EU teams. 0% in Season 1. were able to get all the way through to the final 8 before being taken out by Luminosity EU. No such pedigree for Chrono. If we go back to Season 0, then 0% got all the way to 3rd place. It would be shocking if this team, with that kind of pedigree, while they have had some significant roster changes, it would be extremely surprising if they were not to qualify. But we also have Chrono Team. We know very little about them. Perhaps they will be able to surprise us. Going to see the Groot, Human Torch, Hulk, banned out. We're back to normal bans again. Although someone on 0% is currently hovering the penny. We'll see if that does happen. A very early ban onto the Adam Warlock. It's been being banned significantly later in the draft by the majority of other teams. Captain America making their way onto the board. Loki. Going to be protected. So with Adam Warlock off the board, you pick another character with some pretty good backline defenses. Either Soul Bond or that Regeneration Domain. Both good at protecting your team against some dive potential. Final ban for Chrono Team first. What else is at fear? They're going to take out that Iron Fist. Potential for a little bit of backline dive from 0% is going to be at least mitigated. Still is, of course, options for Magic or Black Panther or a lot of other options. Captain America is, of course, on the board. Spider-Man, even. And Hela will be taken out. So Psylocke is available, Hela is not.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Ooh, we got another Jeff game. Jeff sneaking into quite a few of our games this time. Line Pro. Going to be starting on the Rocket here. Was that for BRB? No, going to be looking at Psylocke. All right, we are heading in, ladies and gentlemen, as the teams select their characters. This is going to be a Spider Island game. We are heading in for a convoy. Making our way in.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
Here come the teams. Let's introduce our players. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is going to be 0% with Legacy on the Emma Frost. On Hero, going to be playing the Psylocke. Name is playing the Loki. Frost Mountain playing the Jeff here. Very fun. Isador is going to be on the Captain America. And Line Pro is on the Lunar Snow. They are 0%. And on the right-hand side, it is Chrono Team with Vaturka going to be playing on the Lunar Snow. Metaro? M3 Tioro? We're going to say Metaro. Going to be playing the Loki. I don't know how to reach this one. We're going to call them Hatch. We're going to call them Hacked. I don't know this one. I'm afraid. Please tell me how to pronounce this one in the comments. They're on the Winter Soldier. Lorax is going to be playing the Magneto. Najin is on the Emma Frost. And X-Lazy will be playing the Psylocke. Isador playing quite far up here. Immediately, Regeneration Domain has been dropped off quite early. Putting pressure onto the backline. Keeping the pressure on. Trying to get onto the front line. Getting locked down here by the Emma Frost, though, as Najin is starting to make a little bit of space for Chrono Team. Trying to get onto Line Pro, who buys a couple extra seconds. And Frost Mountain has skedaddled. Just trying to continuously flank here. They, of course, have that Lunar Snow team up. Rolling in from behind, does get spotted. But continuing to make their way up to the rooftops to keep the pressure on. Attacking from multiple angles will buy a little bit of extra time as the Dance of the Butterfly will be coming out from Oniro to push onto the back line. Nation is tagging through the best they can as they drop a psionic seduction into the backline. Fade of both worlds to buy the team some time to help on tag through. Immediately, regeneration domain has to be dropped as Libro is getting chased onto the backline. Here comes Legacy on the other side with their own psionic seduction here, trying to get onto him, but again finds nothing. Freedom charge in the backline. Isidore is pressuring back here, keeping the pressure on, trying to get onto that Everfrost and trying to zone out the strategist. Good damage output. Rhyperian Buzzsaw. It's going to be enough for the finishing blow as xlazy, Dancing Butterfly into the backline, takes out Legacy. Sends some damage into Isidore, who will back up into that regeneration domain. It's a solo duelist on the Psylocke here for the side of 0% with the Jeff acting as the second option. We've seen the strategy before from the former team OG, now Beyond Papitan. Papatim, sorry. I can never pronounce that one correctly. Good shot using the Lunar Snow team up for maximum damage. Dancing the Butterfly coming in. Down goes the Regeneration Domain Labs, but they group up beautifully here to protect themselves. Great lockdown from Emma. And that is going to be a huge pickup. Frost getting locked down. Try to push on through. Try to hold this together.
Your powers are mine. Your powers are mine.
Meteoro keeping the team pushing in with a God of Mischief name on the same. Both Lunar Snows, Fate of Both Worlds, available. Frost yet to drop their it's Jeff yet. Holding on to that potentially until the last couple seconds as Lorax, Meteor M point blank onto name as here comes the side introduction. Here comes Frost Mountain, gets a 1-for-1 taken out though as Lazy drops the Dance of the Butterfly, and we're seeing Chrono Team pushing on in. What a knockback! Isidore just got bodied as Chrono Team pushes on in. Name swaps to Strange to try and Portal, but Isidore was not able to delay, and as such, they're going to be swapping back to that Loki. Legacy getting blasted here, zoned out hard. Giving it their best. A lot of damage. But is it enough to get any finishing blows as of yet? Yes, it was, as Legacy was able to pick someone off. Sorry, Najin was able to pick off Isidore here. Here comes the Psionic Seduction, trying to lock them down. Fate of Both Worlds and Dance of the Butterfly as the counteraction though. But the tankiness is so high. The Winter Soldier, Kraken Impact, waiting for that Fate of Both Worlds to expire. Finds the Loki clone to get the first reset. Comes on in, but that's going to be Emma Frost eating the majority of that. Finds another Loki clone for reset number 2. Loki clone number 3 to keep it going. Looks for Emma, cannot find it. The resets will expire and down they go as Frost continues to siege from behind, taking out the regeneration domain. Taking out a couple bubbles. It's Jeff. Finds 2. It's right near the edge. Nothing's going to stop him. And goodbye. Easy pick up there with 1 minute 17 left. They're going to try and use this as the zone. That's through a Fate of Both Worlds for the shutdown here. Light Pro getting focused down. Frost Mountain nearly getting taken out. Name keeping the team topped up. Lorax pushing up onto the point. Here comes the Freedom Charge. 0%. Using their ultimates a little bit early. They want to keep their opponents off their balance here. Keep them pushed in, buy more time. Vibranian Saw. Trying to get onto the Winter Soldier. Gets the double. Takes out Meteoro as well. And they are deep in the back. Like the deflect on the Snowball. Lunar Snow chased down, wiped out. Nation is down. Lazy is all that's left, and they are just hiding around the corner right now as the respawns come in with 30 seconds left to go. Lazy is barely up. That's going to be enough. Oniro dropped low, healed up by Jeff. Legacy Psionic Seduction, Dance of the Butterfly, available for both of the Psylocks here. Here comes the Psionic Seduction from Legacy. Live Pro has that Fate of Both Worlds to buy a little bit of extra time. Dance of the Butterfly to capitalize, to push on through. Kraken Impact comes in as it's going to be the first pickup onto Oniro. Winter Soldier trying to make it onto the point here. Here comes that Fate of Both Worlds from Lime Pro to buy the extra time. Good pickup from Winter Soldier, as that is going to be another pickup on the counter as Lazy goes down. Nation with their silent introduction will find nothing as the Fate of Both Worlds is about to expire. Name is miles away from their own as Meteoro will have their own Lunar Snow to make their way onto the point, keeping the team to drop. Top Nation dropped so low, but they will be sustained here, meaning Lazy can return to the point, make their way back in, and they have that Dance of the Butterfly need to be healed up, which they will be by the Fate of Both Worlds. Into the backline, Frost Mountain is so close. Name finally gets their own just in time to try and hold this into the overtime. This could come down to if Frost Mountain is able to land what could be the It's Jeff of their tournament life. Here they come! Only one! But is that enough? Dance of the Butterfly sends off their own team, takes themselves out. They know they can't afford to take it, but it's enough! They force them off the point, taking out Magneto. Everyone else is blasted back, and that is going to be a hold at 1 point, 90 meters and 7 centimeters.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
What a first round here. Chrono team putting on a fantastic push here. Okay, I just got sent a message on Twitter saying that apparently the Marvel Rivals team actually just put out a notification on their Discord saying they're on the lookout for casters for the casting team. So after this game, I'm going to take a quick pause of the recording to go fill out that form. If you now is the time, if any, to like tell them on like social media if you want me to be casting MRC or Ignite, because hello, I guess they are actually looking. Shout out to Rabu Rosu for sending that over to me. What an absolute champion. Let's see, are we getting any compositional adjustments here? Looks like no from Chrono Team. They're running the exact same strat here, and don't blame them for doing that well against a team with the pedigree of 0%. It's not too surprising to see. Immediately, Isidore creating space. Moving up hyper-aggressively, as does Frost Mountain. Immediately wrapping around. They are in the enemy backline right now. Jeff having a little bit of trouble climbing up that area. But here we go with the slows from the Lunar Snow team up, doing huge work, bubbles on the ground to give them their own escape route. And the fact is, all of this is slows, all of this is damage, and all of this is space for their team. And this is looking like a snowball, pun intended. Look at the people just disappearing. That is a very grayed out team portrait sheet from Chrono Team, as 0% just absolutely snowball through, and they are not stopping. They've gone all the way back to spawn to zone them here, because every second that you are fighting them here is every second that that card continues to move, as Name is a solo creeping forward with this one. The rest of the team is in the backline with the Dance of the Butterfly to try and take down anyone who would try to reinforce. But again, they bought time. They used an ultimate, but they bought time. Here comes the Fate of Both Worlds to buy even more, as Lazy is down, Lorax is down, Frost Mountain finally falls. But there's point number 1, already grabbed, and they've reset that spawn point. The push is just relentless right now. 0% playing the hyper-aggression strategy. There's the finish line, and the fact is 0% have been fighting on it for the last minute and a half. Not giving an inch back to the side of Chrono Team, and Chrono Team cannot afford to lose any positioning now, just due to how much 0% aren't giving it back. Diving in, Freedom Charge, it's Jeff into the backline. How many did they get? It's a 2-for-1, and goodbye Luna. Running off because they took Psylocke as well, which just leaves Lorax. The cart is coming. Najin is trying to hold, but they're getting run down by Captain America. Lorax is getting melted. The respawn is far away. The cart is moving in. Lazy needs to run in. Meteoro has their ultimate. They're going to try and run in, but they're still getting zoned by Isidore. No one is near the cart. No one can stop them. Side introduction to hold them back just in case. And that was 0%. Running an absolute track and field here. Olympic level rush. absolutely smashing the defenses there. And Isidore, a well-deserved MVP there. Let's look at those statistics. Most eliminations is a two-way tie between Isidore and Legacy, both with 19. Least amount of times getting eliminated, 2 times. Name able to stay up for the majority of those games. Final hits, it's going to be 12 for Isidore, topping the chart again. We could see it. We could actively see just how many problems they were causing. Incredible push there. So aggressive. Top damage, not going to be Isidore. They don't top every statistic. We are able to avoid that. It is, in fact, going to be pretty close, actually, but it's going to be Oniro with 19k, beating out Legacy and Lazy, both with 18k. Just a little bit behind. About 500 to 600 difference in it. Not a lot in it at all. Very close game in terms of damage. Top damage blocked. Again, normally you would see this go over to the team that came second, as they are the ones who have to hold a point longer, but they didn't even get a chance this time, because it was the backline who got pressured with Isidore and Frost Mountain just constantly, and Oniro, just constantly in the backline. The damage output is crazy between those three, because they were constantly pressuring in, so it's not going to be the frontliners for the side of Chrono Team who get the top tanking done. It's going to be Legacy, the only Vanguard for the side of 0%, who was actually where a Vanguard traditionally stands, so it was absorbing the majority of that damage and still only went down 4 times, half as much as Nation and Lorax. And top healing is going to go over to Vaturka. That Lunar Snow from Chrono Team getting 27k, 1k more than Meteoro, and about 3k more than Lime Pro. You expect the team that is losing to get that little bit more healing, because if they are losing, they're probably taking more damage. An intense game, and we've still got 3 more to go. But as I just told you, because this is showing what happens here, it is currently 15:28. I've been sent a message. I need to pause the recording so I can fill out the caster application, because apparently they just put it public. So I'm going to go do that. So I will be right back in a couple seconds for you, in a couple minutes for me. I will see you all in but a moment. See you all in a sec. And we are back. It took me a little bit to fill out that form, but I have officially sent in my form for Marvel Rivals. They put out a form. I've officially sent in my casting form. So, fingers crossed. Wish me luck in the comments, I guess. But we still have more games to cover, ladies and gentlemen. Between these two teams, one of them went 10-0, as we've come to expect, but one of them went 8-2, meaning that both of these teams are in that top 32. We will be seeing more of them, but the question is which is which? We have the team that I will pronounce their name wrong literally every single time, Berber Patapim. And they are versus Plant Signage. Who will come out on top? So, Berber Patapim. I'm gonna get it wrong every time. I can't. It's so hard. Oh my god. Berber Patapim used to be OG Esports during Season 1. Now running under an independent banner of some absolute brain rot. We're going to be seeing an immediate ban onto the Adam Warlock, but a protection onto the Human Torch. On the other side, Plant Signage. I know very little about them here. Could be seeing an Invisible Woman. And the Groot getting banned away with Hela, Human Torch, and now Captain America being protected. Plant Signage now with their next protection. So far, a lot of the heroes who have massively jumped up in priority this season are getting through the bans. We're going to be seeing that Emma Frost once again being protected here. Emma Frost against Captain America is a pretty solid choice. Cap, he's so hard to pin down, and Emma Frost is one of the best crowd control characters in the game. So being able to keep Cap from running into your backline is a solid pickup here. Iron Fist will be taken away, though. More backline dive, not welcome here. This is Our 7th game. We have 2 more after this. A Spider-Man will be the final character to be removed by Maverickᶻ.
All the difference.
I'm saying it as often as I can to try and like get myself used to it. What are we going to see here? Someone is hovering a mantis there for a second. Looks like that's not going to be committed to, though. Giovanni is hovering a character that is in fact banned. Alright, we might be seeing the Tanuki Jeff. This is something I've seen a couple times during my top level ranked casts. So it would be fun to see that returning, but it might also just be a speed boost rollout for the team. Cloak and Dagger, it is Jeff.
We'll be coming in 30 seconds.
Heck yeah, love me a Jeff. Triple strategist, solo duelist, with the Jeff acting as a sort of pseudo second duelist here. With a little bit of backline pressure. Let's introduce our teams. On the left-hand side, it is Maverickᶻ. With Enzo playing the Emma Frost. Polly is on the Captain America. Tanuki is playing the Jeff. Ken is playing Loki. Pokey is in the sky on that Human Torch. And Alex will be playing the Lunar Snow. And on the right, plant signage. With Dior playing the Star-Lord here. Even without the Adam Warlock, Giovanni is going to be playing the Captain America and sent back to spawn. Kyphon on the Loki, getting focused down here, as right now Ken and Pokey are absolutely obliterating the push out here from plant signage. Shia just respawning here. They are going to be playing the Hella. Jam on Muir. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that one wrong. They are on the Lunar Snow. And Shadow G will be playing the Emma Frost. Pushing out. Piling on the pressure. Ken losing those Loki clones. But that card has not made much progress yet, as Jeff on the backline with Cap and with Human Torch is making this spawn door a no-go zone. If you can't leave the base, you can't push the cart. And that's exactly what we're seeing there. Emma Frost suplexing a shark is not something I thought I would see this year, but here we go. As Tanuki is forced to back away. Pokey keeping the pressure on from above. Not taking out the Loki clones right away here. Being a little patient with that. Going to set up a Pyro Prison to create another zoning area here as Shia takes to the sky. Shadow tries to make their way. You've got to be careful with these Pyro Prisons. There is a maximum size of them before the interior starts to not do damage. Tanuki healing up a little bit here, showing how versatile Jeff can be. Especially if you pair it with another diver, being able to heal them up to full here. Sending in the shots with the Emma, with the Lunar Snow team up, making this area a slow movement zone, making it very hard to deal with. Alex going to drop that Fate of both worlds to match onto Jam. Here comes the hits. Jeff gets one of each. Going to spit out that Captain America and taking Emma Frost right to the edge. Where down they go. Even stayed to watch them fall. Kyphon, that clone with the God of Mischief, is going to expire. Ashia will be the next to fall. Ken with the Loki firing squad is continuing to pile on the pressure here for plant signage. Giving them the opportunity to try and turn this round. Polly landing the hits onto the Mr. Fantastic that Giovanni has brought out here to try and get them an adjusted. Here comes the Galactic Legend to try and turn this round. Triple duelist right now, by the way, for plant signage to try and break this siege with more damage. Not finding much. Dior getting outplayed here as in comes the Freedom Charge. Ken, their ultimate's going to expire. Brainiac bounce, diving in deep, suplexed out the air. Cord and Enzo gets the elimination. Now diving back onto the rest of the members who are trying to hold this cart. But they won't get any further forward here. And it looks like it's going to be essentially a full team wipe by Maverickᶻ. And plant signage are sent back to spawn. Giovanni back onto the Magneto. They've given up on this triple duelist. Gonna try and mix it up here. Tanuki taking a little bit of damage. They're trying to out-duel the Star-Lord here. But the more the Star-Lord is fighting, the less push will happen. Speaking of which, 3 people on the point right now as the rest of Maverickᶻ are forced to back away. Tanuki takes out Kaifon. Pokey goes down, though. They make their way in. Here comes the Psionic Seduction from Shadow G to try and lock them down with the Fate of Both Worlds. Nothing is coming through here. It's Jeff into the backline. Gets 2 this time. Brings the Captain America with them. Nearly gets taken out. A little bit risky this time. Goes for the spit to try and force Star-Lord into that death zone before they were able to fly away. Not able to do so, and as such, Dion is able to flee, but is getting tracked down here. The relentless Jeff, and it's going to be the Psionic Seduction that will guarantee the pickup as it comes to Flaming Meteor from Shia to try one last chance, and with no one on the point, it is going to be a hold at 51 meters. And now it is the turn of Maverickᶻ to try and push on through plant signage.
Including which side you're on.
The pressure is on. Are we going to see any comp adjustments moving into round 2? Plant signage. Now on defense. Do you mix it up in any particular way? You've got a Jeff constantly in your backline. Do you potentially look at something like an Amor that can try and at least target it down, even while Jeff is underwater? Make it so that Jeff moving it that far back is still a little dangerous. Do you commit further into the Flyers? Do you potentially bring out the Storm to try and make it more difficult for Jeff to find targets? Do you even pick Penny to at least make those backline rotation angles riskier to step into? These are a bit more of the Hail Mary plays. These might not be the wisest plays. The wisest play is just hit Shark. Eliminate other team as they are going to be outnumbered a lot of the time while Jeff is trying to focus your backline.
3, 2, 1.
That is absolute nonsense what I just said there. What am I talking about? We'll see what they do. Tanuki making their way through, going to heal up. As they have once again gone for the world's longest wraparound to cause a distraction, cause some damage, takes the 1v1 duel versus a Psylocke and wins it with ease. Looks for more, gets the double, looks for the triple, it gets stolen by Polly, as that is going to be the triple being picked up there onto Giovanni. Cart moves in, and GG!
Final score 1-2.
This team has pedigree. We've talked about it before. This team has incredible pedigree. In Season 1, they played incredibly under the banner of OG, making it all the way to the lower bracket semi-finals, essentially putting them in 4th place before being taken out by Luminosity EU. Luminosity EU, I've made up Sestroid, Trust Me, Level 1 Crook, all these incredibly high-level players. A team that is likely already qualified for Ignite. And now we have the former OG, now Maverickᶻ, coming back in for even more. We'll have to see if they're able to do it. Let's talk about the statistics here. MVP once again goes over to Tanuki. We've seen this Jeff before. They're one of the players who actually uses it even in those high-level games, and it does do work. Top eliminations is going to go over to Pokey with 22 eliminations here. Doing huge work. 3 more than both Enzo and Polly, and 4 more than Tanuki. Least amount of times getting eliminated. Alex, Enzo, and Polly. And Ken, in fact, none of them ever went down that whole game. Most final hits goes over to Tanuki with 10 final hits on that Jeff. Shout out to Shia, by the way, who was the person on their team who actually got any eliminations at all, and did 11k damage, which is actually the highest damage in the game. So shout out to Shia for trying their absolute hardest to make something happen for their team here. Top damage blocked is going to go over to Giovanni. Was trying to make moves with this Captain America. They weren't even on tank for all of the game, but they still took the most damage. It's pretty much a tie of the amount of times they got eliminated, so we can't really take that into account. And top healer. Kyphon wasn't able to get as much healing output as they probably would have liked. They were being pressured so often. Jambombyr will be the top healer here by about 1,000 here, to overtaking Alex with their 13k over Alex's 12k. Tanuki even getting 5k here, just a little bit less than Kyphon, about 3k less, but was still able to do huge damage output with 7k damage, and as we already talked about, getting the most final hits. An incredible matchup between these two teams, with Plant Signage almost certainly already qualified as well for that double elimination bracket. But Patapim, they're one of the best teams. They are definitely a one to watch. I believe when they were as OG, they were in the Marvel Rivals Invitational as well. Yes, they were. Invitational for EMEA, where they came second that time, losing to Virtus Pro. So this team has some absolutely monstrous pedigree. So now they just need to lock it in and see if they can get some wins of their own. 2 more matches to go before we are done with Europe for the day. And then tomorrow I've got to do America, who have even more 10-point teams. So if we're following the same rules, that's going to be another long video. What are we on? 2 hours. We're actually pretty on pace. All right. So, who did I say that I was going to do for this one? Check my notes. That's the matchup. Okay. Let's load on into that. Well, I hope you're all enjoying. Reminder that if you're enjoying my coverage today, then make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you really like my commentating, then maybe tweet at Netty/Marvel Rivals and say, hey, we want Tencha casting. He sent in a form. Check your inbox, because he actually put in the form. What are the odds that on the day I record this, that actually happens? That is amazing. So, fingers crossed. Send some love in the comments, help me in the algorithm, and if you really want to support, become a member to help support the channel, or hit that thanks button to send a donation. As let's head in to our next game. One of these teams is 8-2, the other is 10-0. Which way round is which? We have Astronic and Alcatzia. Alcatzia have quite a history of their own, mostly since the last MRC, with a couple familiar names, but they're starting to make their names known here, with Milk Boy from Dusty coming in here. We've got a couple players from all over different teams, all sort of coming together to create this roster, which I believe is owned by a Saudi football club, if I remember correctly. But they've had some great placements in a lot of the independent tournaments, making their way in to Marvel Rivals Ignite Open qualifiers. They're looking to make a name for themselves here. Astronic, I don't know really anything about. These are a lot of unfamiliar names to me, so let's see if they can perform the upset today. We're going to see Hulk, Groot, Adam Warlock, Psylocke all getting taken out. Protections on the Human Torch, Hela, so they have a counter for the Human Torch themselves, and Captain America with Alcatzia also going to protect that Lunar Snow. A great healer when you're pairing up with a Human Torch, because of course you can drop that Snowflake on them and heal them even if you're not paying direct attention to them. Or even if you don't have direct line of sight, which is extremely useful. Alcatzia, their final ban. Going to be taking out the Winter Soldier. First time we've seen it banned so far in these rotations. It's sort of been a bit of an afterthought compared to last season, where it was the duelist. Astronic banning the Jeff. It's almost like they were watching the last game here. But they're going to remove that from the board, remove that potential for instant wins, basically. If you get a really lucky, it's Jeff. So, looking at these drafts, we're seeing Hellas, we're seeing Human Torches, we're seeing Invisible Womans. Emma Frost not touched, protected, or banned by either team. And as such, it looks like we are seeing an almost identical draft here, with the only difference being, oh, that's going to be quite a name, Mamindu BRTTV playing the Magneto, and Lakaya playing the Captain America. That's the only difference. Oh, hang on, we've got another difference. Let's talk about it as we start introducing our players. Ladies and gentlemen, on the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is going to be Astronic, with who I'm going to call Kapma, even though I know that's probably not correct, playing the Human Torch. Me, who I don't think will be playing the Magic. I think that is just a little bit of a bamboozle here. They will be on the Emma Frost. Snazzy will be playing the Lunar Snow here. Sixen is on the Invisible Woman. Jeskichel is playing the Hela there. Sorry, I had a brain shut down for a second. And Mamindu BRTTV, I assume the BR is Brazil, if I had to guess, which is a weird choice considering we are on the EMEA server, so that's probably not actually correct. Mamindu BRTTV, either way, they are on the Magneto. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, it will be Alcacia with Milk Boy already entering into a duel with their fellow Emma Frost. Tilt is on the Hela, sending the shots in. Lakaya will be the first to fall on Captain America, sent back to spawn. We'll have to wait to respawn and make their way back in, but luckily they have one of the faster rollouts as Cap is quite fast. Maluki is on the Invisible Woman. Helis on that Human Torch also falls. Astronic are taking control at the start here. Helis also forced to make their way back from spawn, and Lindstrom will be playing on that Lunar Snow. Alcacia forced off the point here. We're talking about an upset, and right now Astronic, they do have control, and they're immediately creating that destructible terrain and trying to set their team up for a little bit of an easier defense by zoning out and creating less engage routes here. It's all now high ground or that left-hand side as opposed to that center engage point. Human Torches sending in as much damage as they can, even dueling a little bit. Flaming Meteor used as mobility to avoid getting caught out of position here. Using that Fantastic Force, Healers will keep themselves topped up here. Me trying to get onto that Captain America, protect their backline, but it's not going to be enough as Tilt takes out Snarcy. Lindstrom with the Fate of Both Worlds, keeping their team topped up as the Invisible Boundary will expire. Supernova also expiring, meaning Lindstrom is the one who's creating the engage here. Lakaya in the backline took out one, Jeski gets another, and Maluki setting this up. It's a lovely turnaround for Alcacia as they are now on the board. 61 to 5% in favor of Astronic, but Alcacia in control. Snarcy playing a little bit further back for the moment, but will send in a couple heals. You can see that Snowflake is placed onto Kappa. Sending in a couple shots here and there. Helis creating zoning situations, doing a lot of damage onto that Emma Frost, who's going to get shielded by Magneto. Fate of Both Worlds will come out from Snarcy, and that might force the retreat out of Alcacia, at least for the state here, as Milk Boy will be matching in kind here. Media M finds nothing. Helis Supernova Ring has created a lovely choke point here, but it's just the front line that have to be dealt with. Point blank, focusing down that Hela, forcing them to the ground. Astral Flock as they try to get away, but they're being tracked down beautifully. Soul Cypher try and get away, but it's going to be the pickup for Helis as Alcacia, in a bit of a messier fight, but one that still worked out in their favor, are able to keep control of the point of Warrior Falls. Sixen healing up Kappa. Jeski returning from spawn. Lakaya looking to push onto the backline. Shield being dropped down, but will hold the line here. What is Lakaya going to do? How aggressive do they want to be without a shield? They're going to drop the Freedom Charge. Immediately snowball, but they took damage, which woke them up. Shield recharging quickly as they're just trying to cause a little bit of a distraction on the backline and do a lot of damage. If they're fighting here, if they get the wipes, it's perfect. But if they're fighting here, they're not on the point, which means your team has a better chance of locking in. Amazing dive. And that is going to be Alcacia on 95%, unless someone from Astronic portals in, but I don't think they have enough time. Oh, overtime. No, they're going to let it go. Hold the portal. Wait. They're just going to give up this round, save the portal for the future. They might need it in round number 2. As such, round number 1 goes over to Alcacia. Can they lock this in and secure a 2-0 as they head to the Imperial Institute of Science? Astronic putting up quite the big fight here and realizing that they're getting hit on the ground a lot. It looks like they might be trying to adjust a risky play here with a Hela on the board and a Human Torch. They are looking to potentially go double flyers. Everyone predicted that Storm would be the character last season. Everyone predicted that Storm might see more play this season. And she has almost disappeared, but is going to make a return here. jxlus taking the gamble.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Is this going to be a choice that works out in their favor? Is this too risky? We will be finding out. Micaiah is charging forward, going for a wide flank. Wants to see if they can get an angle to get a quick blow up onto anyone. See Snarcy. And once again, immediately onto the strategist. Invisible Woman, focus down. Great snowball to lock him down here. But Lakaya is deep in here. Immediately going to be turning around as Sixon drops the invisible boundary for the side of Astronic to try and push up onto the point here. Astronic got the first percentage in the first round and trying to do so again. Invisible boundary has expired. Here comes the Supernova as Cap takes out Maluki. Lindstrom with the extra fade of both worlds to try and allow their team to tank on through this huge damage from the Human Torch. Starcy fade of both worlds to try and hold the line and still takes to the sky. It's going to be taken down immediately. Finds nothing here. Starcy giving the team topped up. Jeski is trying to duel out Cap. Trying to take out the damage dealers into the backline here with that Omega Hurricane. Trying to lock down, gets Healers out of the sky with that Omega Hurricane, but will be taken down by Lakaya, who is able to melee the flyer character. Maluki takes down Iron, and it looks like the first points, despite that bar getting so close for Astronic, is going to be going over to Alcancia. Psionic Seduction available for Iron Me. Giving them a solid amount of that burst protection, solid amount of extra crowd control if they could get past some of those barriers. Maluki with the invisible boundary, going to be able to hold the line. And Guardian Barrier, one of the best healing assist abilities. Jeski trying to focus onto anyone who steps out of position while using cover here. 79% for Katma, 46 for Jeski, so we're not getting the team up as of yet. The damage is good, trying to get rid of Lakaya, which will be enough to keep their backline up, but Iron has already fallen. Here comes the Cosmic Yard Amplifier from Sixon, making their way onto the point. Lightning coming out as Healers takes the duel with Tilt landing the final blow. Healers creating a nice zoning potential here, utilizing the crowd control of Emma to do easily enough damage to take out Mamindu BRTTV. Gets locked down though by the counter Emma as Iron will get the final hit there to push on in and see if they can reclaim the point. Lakaya just runs on past. On your left. Iron Me holding the line, here comes the freedom charge from Lakaya to try and once again pressure the backline by enough time. Fate of both worlds forced to come out here. Here it comes! Flaming Hurricane! Firestorm! Blast on through. Milk Boy is taking out Sixon though. Even with all that damage, they found nothing! And Alcancia stand in the face of the elements themselves and they say, give us our 10 points. Portal comes out, but it's too slow. A 2-0 for Alcancia as they take 10-0 in these open qualifiers. With Astronic going 8-2. Still qualifying for those final 32 spots. But Alcancia sending a message that they are to be feared. Milk Boy taking MVP there. Looking at the statistics, 23 eliminations. Top in the game. Least amount of times getting eliminated though. Shout out to Lindstrom, who didn't get taken out once. They also topped the healing numbers. We'll skip to that. Lindstrom possibly deserving a little MVP of their own there with 21k healing as well. Very nicely done. Top final hits, going to be 7, going over to Tilt and Milk Boy. Both tied together with the top damage being, well, Kappa. Beating out healers, beating out Lakaya, beating out Milk Boy. Kappa doing 18k damage, but only getting 3 final hits, not finding enough to land the finishing blows here. Top damage blocked, 20k, only about 1k more than Iron Me and Mamindu. Milk Boy takes the most damage blocked as well, topping so many stats here. Doing so much work for their team. We've already talked about top healing. Olegattoor, they've had a couple up and downs in recent time, but this was definitely an up, showing dominance here in this round. They set themselves up beautifully for this round of 32. And that means, with that, we have 1 game left. Ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely excited. The round of 32 is going to be absolutely wild. This should be so fun. So let's get this set up here. I don't know why just leaving a map takes me back to the home screen every time. It's not ideal, but hey, we deal with what we can. So that's that one, and they were against... Oh, I remember this. I haven't watched the game, but I saw this on my screen that these two teams faced each other, and I had to pick this. This one was a no-brainer, because we have some names for you today, ladies, gentlemen, and anyone in between. Let's head on in. We have LF Org. Okay, looking for Org, and we've got some familiar names on that team, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Melio, formerly from Fnatic. We've got Trust Me, formerly from Luminosity. We've got Fate, formerly from Luminosity. It is a absolute super team coming in here for LF Org, looking for organization. But they are against a team that is no stranger to top-tier play. This is Yoinkanda. Yoinkanda. 2nd place in Marvel Rivals Championship Season 0, losing to Team Cats that went on to become the legendary Virtus Pro, already qualified. This team has played on these players have played on quite a few rosters since. They've spread around a little bit, but Yoinkanda is what has returned, bringing everything to bear for the Marvel Rivals Ignite. These two teams are top level, and I don't think any of you will be surprised to hear that one of these teams went 10-0 and one went 9-1. Only losing to each other. But which one did lose? That is what we're going to find out. Jeff and Human Torch going to be taken away here. Groot allowed through this time. Blacksoul, an incredibly strong player, especially on that Groot. Not surprised to see that here. Wolverine, if you've got a Groot on the board, it's worth taking that Wolverine away. One of the few characters who can really punish him by taking him over his own walls, isolating him from his own healers, shutting him down that way. Winter Soldier also taken away. Another solid counter to the Groots. If you can get that quick angle before the wall comes down, you can pull them out of position. Emma Frost, protected. An incredibly tough front line available for looking for Org. Last protection of the game for Yoinkanda. What will be the final setup here? It's going to be Hela protected on the board here. Psylocke will be banned away. Been a very hit and miss couple days for Psylocke here. What is next? Looking for Org. The last ban of the entire rotation. What do you want to get rid of for Hall of Jalia? It is Convergence. They remove Lunar Snow.
The right heroes could make
Awesome ban here. Really wanting to remove that burst healing. If you already have Loki on the board, you really don't want those double Fate of both worlds. It can make fights last forever. So we're seeing the adjustments here. Ooh, we do actually have so many strategies available. Hulk, Namor, Iron Man snuck through. We have the Adam Warlock with the incredible power from a potential Star-Lord on the board. So many strategies made it through this ban phase. This is the first time we're going to be seeing a lot of them. This is exciting. I hope you're all as excited as I am, as this is the last game of today. We're at 2 hours and 19 minutes, meaning it's about going to be, assumedly, anywhere between a 2-hour 30 and a 3-hour video, depending on how long these teams can go, potentially into overtime. We'll have to see. Let's introduce our players, because on the left-hand side, on defense, it is looking for Org, with Rajaro playing the Magneto. A7MD Rolex 321 is going to be playing the Mantis. A name I can't read, but will translate in between rounds. It's going to be on Adam Warlock. Trust me. Technically looking for team, but I think they might have found one. Going to be on the Groot. Melio is playing Star-Lord. And Fate will be on the Loki. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks on attack, it is going to be Yoinkanda with Sylvie playing the Loki. Snaze is on the Emma Frost. Blacksaw is playing that Groot. Monk Buddha is on the Hawkeye. Etsu is bringing out that Hela, and Vertigo is going to be trying out the Cloak and Dagger with Lunar Snow removed. Invisible Woman also taken out of action. They're forced to adjust. As right now, we're seeing a solid defense here. A couple members of Yoinkanda are picked off, sent back to the spawn. Cosmic Clusters charged up, being sent down range, seeing if they can get a little bit of pre-damage on anyone who decides to peek. Gotta be careful, though, as Monk Muda is on the prowl, looking for his quick blow-ups on this Hawkeye.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Needs to be careful, though. Melio is on the flank, looking for exactly this to try and pressure them in, taking out some Loki clones. Finds the real one, struggling prison for Trust Me. Groot Walls coming up for a little bit of extra stay. Blast Barrage not enough to finish the job. Soul Rejuvenation with the Soul Bond from Rolex to try and keep their team going, as Sylvie going for the clone. Fade of the Eternal Bond. We don't see this character enough. I forgot the name for a second. Karmic Revival coming in, bringing the team back to the fight. And now going for a bit of a flank, seeing if they can get the burst damage to come on in. Keeps the team top. They land some headshots from it. They get some cooldown reduction. Galactic Legend for Melio to try and take out Blacksaw. Focusing them down. Not enough for the finishing blow. Finally able to take them out with the help of Trust Me. Melio, in fact, has played with a couple of these players before as well. Blacksaw in particular. These players all have a lot of history together. Rajra playing a little bit back. Looks like we have a bit of a mix-up here, as Etsu bringing out the Adam Warlock of their own.
I feel better already.
So they've got in for a full Guardians composition themselves. Monk Muda on the Star-Lord, so the pressure is onto them here. There comes the Straggling Prison to try and lock them down. Blaster Barrage. Soulbond gives them a little bit of extra stain here as they try to make their angle, but Snaze and Etsu are already down, and Monk Muda is on the run. Melio going to ignore them, just focusing onto the Groot here. And will find the elimination, as right now, LF Org are locked in here.
Only 60 seconds left.
You heard Galacta, 60 seconds remaining to try and turn this round.
Help is here.
I feel better already.
Two identical compositions now trying to break this front line.
Much better.
Focusing mostly on the healing is Vertigo, not dropping the damage boosts. Just trying to keep the team topped up. Sending in the shots. So she's saving those damage boosts. Not for Maverickᶻ though, as they're already down. Soul Rejuvenation gonna be dropped to try and allow the team to push in the rest of the way and try to take down those Loki clones in the meantime. Now the damage boost comes in as Maverickᶻ respawns. Blaster Barrage forced to back out. Galactic Legend down the ready, but it's getting focused down as the Blaster Barrage from Melio straggling prison. Soulbond might keep them alive if they try to keep on pushing through this. They got 11 seconds left to go. Here comes the Galactic Legend. Media M to absorb some of it with the Karmic Revival. Blocked out here. Maverickᶻ is committing everything as Melio tries to duel about the sky. Media M to keep them protected. Neither team is falling. Finally, Rolex eats the Media M from Snaze. Last chance for Yoikanda to push on through here. Blaster Barrage from Melio to try and take him down. Here comes that regeneration domain from the Loki to try and keep the team pushing in. There is still a Karmic Revival hidden up on this high ground. Great soul bond from this Adam Warlock. They might not need it though, because no one's touching the point. Here comes the wraparound, but Vertigo can't reach in time. And that's going to be a hold at 0% by looking for Orc here.
Including which side you're on.
And now the pressure is on. Yoikanda have to put on the push of their life here. Sorry, have to put on the hold of their life here. Looking for Orc, they just need a third. A strong, strong performance. Giving them their chance to try and secure that 10-0. Yoikanda, they need a 0% to force an overtime here to give them their best chance. Both of these teams, no matter what, will be moving on to that round of 32. But placement could be huge. Coming first place here. Winning this matchup is the difference between playing against one of the other teams that went 10-0 or playing against someone who didn't. An easier path through to the next round. I'm going to fall for it. We'll just let you see them. Where are the mines? I want to see the mines. Did anyone get them? There they all are. There we go. Down they go. Maverickᶻ is able to catch them, and nothing will happen. So AMD goes back to the Mantis. Melio destroying a little bit of terrain, making some space. A lot of pressure is on Maverickᶻ here. While Etsu and Vertigo are both going to be able to do some decent damage themselves. It's still Maverickᶻ who has to be the one to pull the trigger in a lot of these fights. The point already being rushed onto. Blaster Barrage! Immediate regeneration domain going to be coming out here. Soulbond was also used though. A little bit of a chain using both of their defensive abilities as Melio will be the first to fall here. Alan keeping the team topped up as best as they can with the help of Rolex and Fate as they try to push on through. Neither team is going down permanently here in Blacksoul with the walls, trying to force anyone to get out of position as in comes that Soul Rejuvenation from Fate with the God of Mischief. Melio taken down here, no cocoon available. Sylvie with their own Soul Rejuvenation to buy a little bit of extra time, but that straggling prison might be enough to finish off their team, but no, they've turned it round. Fate will be brought back here. Rajiro and Trust Me will fall. Adam goes down. And Yoikanda will hold. There was a little bit on the board, but not enough. Yoikanda are holding on with everything in their power. Those clones being set up as quickly as possible to give them the best chance to turn this round. Trying to set up the defensive position. You can see this Cosmic Clusters coming out to ping the Loki clones early, an advantage of someone like an Adam Warlock. Big damage coming in as in comes the Galactic Legend Meteor to absorb at least some of that damage into the backline, but it's going to be blocked out by that regeneration domain. Melio trying to focus the backline. It's anyone who might be out of that Soul Rejuvenation. Ensu will be a huge target. Take them down before a Karmic Revival could come in as Rolex with their extra protection with that Soul Rejuvenation. Ensu goes for a Karmic Revival. No one is down yet, but it's still timed well. Gets Vertigo and Blacksu. Perfect timing. Not into and even Snaze returns. This was a perfectly timed order by him. they're going to be caught by that straggling prison, locked on in. And now it's up to the enemy Adam Warlock from it, looking for Org to try and turn this round as Fate is coming in with a soul rejuvenation of their own Monk Muna from the sky. Galactic Legend to try and take this, but they are down. And looking for Org are cleaning up Soul Bond to lock it. And that is GG.
1, 2, 0.
Looking for Org, take the 33%, and they will be going 10-0 into that round of 32. Yoinkanda, they will still make it through, but with that one black mark on their record. And look at these statistics. A very low elimination game. It was all about sustain with those triple strategists. In the end, MVP goes over to Trust Me, and for good reason. 24 eliminations, 9 final hits. Least amount of times getting eliminated, by the way. Two-way tie between Fate, and let's translate that name. Let's do it while I remember. They won the game. They deserve to be called by their name. This is apparently Nagishi. Apparently it is Nagashi. So, we will call them Nagashi. Nagashi doing some insane work, by the way. 8 final hits of their own here. And only going to take it out once, along with Fate. Most final hits does go over to Trust Me. Most eliminations and most final hits. Top damage also going over to Trust Me. Doing crazy work there. 20,000 damage on that Groot. Beating out both Star-Lords. The Adam Warlocks, the Mantises. The Magnetos, the other Groot. But in terms of damage blocked, that is where you will see balass able to take the win here with 35k damage blocked, 3k more than Trust Me. And top healing. Going to be 22k for Vertigo. You can see that the side of looking for Orc were actually a little bit more spread out. 15k, 14k, and 10k compared to the very front-heavy side, because Etsu did swap to Adam Warlock a little bit later. So Sylvie and Vertigo do have a little bit more healing output as they went double healing for a little bit longer before Etsu decided to join them on this Adam Warlock. But with that, that is it for our games here today. I hope you all enjoyed. I am done recording for today. I'm definitely not going to try doing the American games because there's even more to do. But I hope you all enjoyed. Reminder, if you did, to like, comment, subscribe. Tomorrow's games will be the American Open Qualifiers, and the day after that we'll be going into the single elimination bracket for OCE. Then we'll do Asia. Then we will do the European game. Then we'll do EMEA, and then we will do the Americas. I asked about the China games. I wanted to see if I could get the China replays, and I was told that even the guy who's like in charge of the esports isn't able to get the China replays. So unfortunately, I can't bring you those, so unfortunately those will have to remain a bit of a mystery, at least for the moment, unless there is someone like me over there who's doing casting of that. But if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, help the channel grow. Maybe you'll see me on an official broadcast if they like my application. We'll have to see. I hope you all enjoyed. You can also help, once again, by becoming a member to help support the channel. Let's do a quick second shout out to our members, which are Doki Pokey. Out here for quite a while now. I think they're approaching to be the second longest member now. I think they are the second longest member. Yes, they are. Second longest member, Doki Pokey. Also, one of our newest members, just being pipped by Lucas Tyson, our newest member. But our longest running member, by a couple months actually, is John. Shout out to John every single time. Thank you all for helping support the channel. If you all enjoyed me absolutely blasting my voice today by bringing you way more games than I normally would, that is 9 games in a row. The most I've pretty much ever done is 7, because it's a best of 7 grand finals sometimes. So thanks for watching. I guess I've definitely done more in like other esports, but in one YouTube video. But if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Become a member, say that, hit that thanks button to send a donation if you really want to help support. I have been Tetcher. Tune back in tomorrow for the Americas. Remember to subscribe and ring that bell so that you can see my Rivals Esports recap that I do as well. You can see the news that way. I've been Tetcher again. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.